Okay, well, good evening, folks, and welcome inside the Macon Centreplex here in beautiful Macon, Georgia, the heart of Georgia, dead smack in the middle of the state, a hockey game between the Macon Mayhem and the Huntsville Havoc. Not too far from being underway. The Havoc having a little bit of difficulty getting down here, however, on the bus. The important fact of the matter is that they got here safely, which was our chiefest of concerns, but unfortunately, they were a little bit late, and as such, we had to push the game back a little bit. We want to be gracious hosts, of course, and there was a lot of traffic on the highway down on Route 75 coming south from Huntsville, so there was an issue getting here on time, so we won't be starting until about 10 minutes after the regularly scheduled puck drop, which isn't too bad of a delay. It might be a little bit more than that because there's a special pregame ceremony taking place tonight. It is Military Appreciation Weekend after all, and because of that, we've got some exciting things planned here at the Centreplex. Suffice it to say that there are military personnel all over the building tonight. Tonight's focus is more on the Army. Tomorrow will be more of the Air Force, but all branches are welcome, of course, both nights. It just so happened to sort of work out that way where the Army are the primary residents in the arena tonight, and then tomorrow will be the Robins Air Force Base, which, by the way, folks, the Mayhem players and much of their staff visited the Robins Air Force Base in Warner Robins earlier this week on Wednesday. A video was created by our digital media producer, Brian Arnold, who does a fantastic job with all that stuff. He posted it on Mayhem's social media earlier this week, so you can go ahead on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you, or the Mayhem website, of course, or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Macon Mayhem, and view it there, the Mayhem's experience at Robins Air Force Base. But the more important thing that they're focused on tonight is getting 2 points. They are very much in contention for home ice advantage for the 2019 President's Cup playoffs. Right now, it's a tight race in the SPHL. Huntsville has pulled ahead a little bit, having won 6 of their last 7 games, obtaining at least a point in all of those tilts. They now sit in 3rd place with 61 points on the campaign. Knoxville and Macon trailing pretty closely behind. Knoxville with 57. Macon at 53. Knoxville, by the way, they're a team that's on fire right now, arguably the hottest team in the SPHL. It's either them or Huntsville, that's for sure. The Peoria Rivermen were defeated by the Knoxville Ice Bears 4 times in a row, which I highly doubt that any team's been able to do that this season besides Knoxville. So kudos to them. They're a team that the Mayhem are going to have to watch out for. They're also a team the Mayhem are trying to catch. Right now, they hold that highly coveted 4 seed, which grants the last spot for home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. So the Mayhem need these points tonight and tomorrow night, and they'll have to face off a pretty darn good team to get them. They're the defending champions, the Huntsville Havoc. They've been red hot of late. They've got the top goal scorer in the SPHL who used to wear a Mayhem jersey, no longer. Ryan Salkad with 22 goals on the campaign. He and his line have been firing on all cylinders recently, although he was held off the score sheet by the Birmingham Bulls last weekend. So maybe the Mayhem coaching staff, Leo Thomas, Ryan Michael, watching some of that film from last week when the Birmingham Bulls paid a visit up to Huntsville. Though the Havoc did get the sweep, Ryan Salkad was held completely silent. So with that in mind, maybe Coach Thomas and Coach Michael were able to maybe pick up on a few things that the Bulls did to shut down the SPHL's top goal scorer and apply those things to their game tonight. We shall see. But in the meantime, folks, we've still got plenty of time because we've got the delay. Obviously, the puck drop is now scheduled for 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we thank you for your patience. We apologize for the brief delay. We will be back before too long to get you ready for opening face-off, an interview with Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas, a quick look around the other teams in the SPHL playing tonight, 3 keys of the game, who's hot, who to watch, and so much more coming your way momentarily, folks. Keep it right here. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group package. Whether you're a school, a church, a company, or just a group of friends, give the Mayhem office a call and we'll set you up with an incredible group deal. From $13 tickets to free team hats to a unique experience upgrade of your choosing, the Mayhem have got you and your group covered. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today. Need to raise some money for your organization? Contact the Mayhem front office and we'll be happy to partner up with your group to help you fundraise for a cause. You buy tickets from us at $10, you sell them for $15, and then you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whatever cause you like. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to set up a fundraiser for your organization today. This season, the Mayhem are offering the most inclusive and rewarding ticket package in team history. These perks extend over all 28 home games at the Macon Centreplex. Your season ticket package gets you 2 buddy passes to any of the 28 home games, a 32-ounce Mayhem souvenir cup with $3 refills, a discounted season-long parking pass with access to VIP parking, 10% savings at the Mac Shack, a Mayhem lanyard, early access to the arena before games, VIP entrance to the arena, 3 exclusive team gifts, talk with the coach before the games, and much more. Head to MaconMayhem.com to check out how you can secure your spot for the 2018-2019 season of Mayhem hockey.
Okay, well, welcome back, folks. If you're just now joining us, you missed a brief little shout out to what's going on here because there's a lot of traffic on Route 75 on the way down here. Huntsville had a hard time getting to the arena, so the game's been delayed by about 10 minutes. Not a big deal. So we're fortunate and we're thankful that they got here safely. Some of their fans here as well, the Havoc fans, known for how well they travel, and a short trip to Macon is nothing to them. They're happy to do it, and they've got a lot of folks here from the Booster Club in attendance tonight, and we're happy to have them as well. To those of you tuned in from the Huntsville side, your broadcaster is not here. It'll just be me tonight, so we'll try to do as balanced of a job as we possibly can. The Mayhem, the Huntsville Havoc, squaring off for the penultimate time this season. Tonight, Macon trying to clinch a playoff spot. They're 1 point away from doing so. Whether or not the Quad City Storm win tonight, if the Mayhem go to overtime, it's over. They have clinched a playoff berth for the 4th time in as many seasons, their 4th time since their inception. They'll remain 4 for 4 and perfect in terms of qualifying for the postseason. So far, they're 1 for 3 in actually winning the postseason. Huntsville, the last team to do it, they did so after the Mayhem did it. The Mayhem, the President's Cup champions of 2017. The Havoc, the President's Cup champions of 2018. One team trying to defend the crown, the other trying to reclaim it. The Mayhem and the Havoc battling in what very well could be a prelude to the President's Cup postseason yet again this time around. The Havoc, of course, the team that eliminated Macon in overtime in Game 3. It was a decisive Game 3 right here at the Macon Centreplex last April, and that was a heartbreaking night for the folks, many of whom I presume are here tonight. Peter Sakalis, the one who scored the goal, has been red hot for Glenn DeTulio and the Huntsville Havoc. 6 goals in his last 5 games, and 4 of which came against Macon. The last time the Mayhem and the Havoc squared off was at Von Braun Center. Sakalis ended up earning the SPHL's Warrior Hockey Player of the Week that week. 2 goals in back-to-back games against Macon. He's somebody that the Mayhem are going to have to focus on shutting down. Glenn DeTulio's squad's got tons of firepower on the back end, folks. Pat Condon, Peter Sakalis, Alec Brandrup, Nolan Kaiser, and others. Lots of sharpshooters back there who can really make life difficult for opposing goaltenders. And that's a big part of the reason the Havoc have one of the best power plays in the SPHL. Speaking of which, we feel like that's as good of a transition as any into our 3 keys of tonight's game. Number 1, matching Huntsville's discipline is going to be critical tonight. The Havoc, a very disciplined team, probably the most disciplined team in the SPHL. They, on the season, have averaged fewer penalties per game than anybody. Right now, they average 11.4 PIMs per game, which is last in the SPHL. And so that's key number 1 of tonight's game, is matching Huntsville's discipline. Number 2, competing a full 60-minute game. The past few times the Mayhem have scored the first goal, it really hasn't equated to a victory. In fact, the opposite has been true, which is bizarre when you think about it. For the longest time this season, the Mayhem were undefeated when scoring the first goal. That has not been the case of late. So I would say that competing a full 60-minute game tonight, far more important than scoring the first goal. And finally, simple plays. There are lots of new pieces, moving pieces, players who have come back down from the ECHL, players who have been traded to the Mayhem, players who are here on a tryout basis, players returning from suspension, you name it. It's a new, fresh-looking lineup for the Mayhem tonight, and we'll get into all that momentarily. But first, an interview with Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas is coming your way, folks. Stay tuned on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. All right, welcome into our pregame show, everybody. Alex Von Coytel, the voice of your Mayhem, joined by Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas. We're glad you decided to join us for some Friday night hockey. The Mayhem hosting the Huntsville Havoc for the second to last time this regular season. Coach, first off, appreciate your time and thanks for joining me. Last weekend, Fayetteville did a really good job bouncing back and sort of leveling the score. What were some of the learning points that you took away from last Saturday, especially that were focused on throughout the week during practice?
Yeah, it was just hard work. We went there and we didn't work at all. So I just tried to have a fast pace and heavy practices, and working on a few system things that I seen that we weren't doing well back in Fayetteville.
Yeah, and I'm sure with all these new pieces coming on board, it made for a pretty interesting week in practice. A couple guys coming down from the ECHL, a few others coming in from signing tryouts, one from a trade. One back from suspension, just lots of moving pieces. And 3 of those players will be making their Mayhem debut tonight. Danny Caesar, Sean Lynch, and Igor Babinin. What strengths can we expect each of them to bring to the table going forward?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's been a lot of movement here the past week, but obviously getting Caesar from a trade, he's a high-end, skilled forward who's going to bring a lot of energy and skill to our lineup. And Lynch is a kid fresh out of college who's eager to get his professional career on the road and started, and I'm sure he's ready to go out there and work hard and try to make an impression on us and our team. And Igor's a young kid who just kind of doing a favor for him. He's really young, so just to try to get into that pro game and kind of so he can get a just a feel of how the pro game is. And just expect good things from him.
Yeah, he is really young. As a matter of fact, he just turned 21 yesterday, so he's raring to go tonight. We look forward to seeing what number 7 in the red, black, and blue jerseys can do tonight. And then Sean Lynch, of course, will be wearing number 18. He's in a similar boat to the boat that Josh Keplinger was in a couple of weeks ago, coming in straight out of his senior year. D3 college, had pretty good numbers. And then Danny Caesar, he was out for a week or 2 after the trade, but now he's ready to make his Mayhem debut. He'll be wearing the number 16 for the Mayhem. Coach, we also received a couple of big pieces back from the coast. Stathis Sumalitis, Jake Fayella,
What was your reaction like when you heard earlier this week that those two guys would be coming back?
Huge. Those are two really big pieces for our club, and to get both guys are good leaders in the room also and on the ice, and it's always good to have those kind of guys back in your lineup and around the guys. So very, very pumped for them to be back, and they're both excited to be back also, so that's huge.
Now, the only player who are losing and didn't gain, really, it's been all positive except for one negative, which has been an injury to Kristaps Pazovic. He was placed on the 21-day IR yesterday. Can you shed a little bit more light on his situation and what the implications of his loss mean for the team?
Yeah, no, that was a tough break. I seen the hit he took. He kind of took like a bad hit to the knee, and it's nothing too serious where he's going to need surgery or anything like that. So I think a few weeks he should be back, and that's a tough loss too. He's a mobile, fast, puck-moving guy who has a good shot when he wants to use it. So it's giving a kid like Carter Horowitz a chance to step up and prove himself as well, and kind of fill that void for us while he's out. So.
Yeah, that's right. Carter, we saw a lot of power play time for him last Saturday in Kristaps' absence, and I imagine we'll see a little bit more of that as well this weekend. Last question for you, Coach. Huntsville's only played in this building once all year. It was back on January 25th, almost 2 months ago. You guys took care of business that night. You beat them decisively 4-1. Their roster has probably changed less than anybody's all season. It's been virtually the same from the get-go, and yet they've been improving pretty rapidly of late, and they're on a nice little tear here. They've got points in 7 straight now. How do the Mayhem counteract this team tonight and this weekend?
Yeah, no, they're a great team. Obviously, defending champs. They went through a little rough spout there, but they're a hot team. We just gotta, we gotta compete and battle and work hard. They're a team that's not gonna hand it to you. They're very high offensive. They're skilled, and you gotta match that. And just be hungry on pucks and smother them and not give them a chance to skate around and do their thing. So pretty much that's what we got to do, and I think the guys in our room know that. So.
Yeah, and on top of all that, they're the most disciplined team in the SPHL. They take fewer penalties than anybody. The Mayhem are going to have to try and match that this evening tonight, as Huntsville's power play is pretty lethal. Coach, I appreciate your time, and good luck out there this weekend.
Hey, thank you.
That's Leo Thomas, the head coach of your Macon Mayhem. This has been your pregame show. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. Keep it right here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Military Appreciation Weekend just moments away from being underway here at the Macon Centreplex. It's the Mayhem's third-to-last home game of the 2018-19 season. After tonight, they will host the Havoc again tomorrow, playing against the defending champs for the last time. They'll have their Fan Appreciation Night 2 Fridays from now, 2 weeks from now, on March 29th, when they host the Knoxville Ice Bears, a game which Danny Caesar is very much looking forward to. He played there for 4 seasons. He'll be making his Mayhem debut tonight, wearing the number 16 for the Macon Mayhem. He is slated to line up alongside John Seamer and Derek Sutliff, though it's not certain whether Caesar will play center or right wing and Seamer will play center or right wing. You can expect the two of them to perhaps alternate as the night goes on, depending on how Coach Thomas feels about it. Nevertheless, it should be an exciting one tonight for the Mayhem. Lots and lots of new pieces. 3 players making their Mayhem debut this evening. Numbers 7, 16, and 18 are all playing their first game ever for the Macon Mayhem. And now our beloved mascot, Mac, skating around the Macon Centreplex ice, though this time he's got a perk, the American flag. This is always a fun, exciting, and pretty emotional weekend, Military Appreciation Weekend. And we expect that to be no different tonight or tomorrow. Huntsville's starting lineup has been announced by Charles Olson, our public address announcer. They're going with Ryan Salkeld, Cy Nukovic, and Kyle Sharkey, their big line up front. And Rob Derar, Anthony Calabrese, Max Millisek will be starting for Huntsville. Carter Horowitz getting the nod to start for Coach Thomas and the Mayhem, playing in his just 3rd professional game. He'll be countered by an old teammate of his tonight, number 8, Josh Bowes, making his Huntsville debut, longtime teammate of Carter Horowitz's at Endicott. Zach Urban will be starting alongside Carter Horowitz, the Mayhem's longest tenured defenseman, with their newest defenseman on the same pair, which makes sense. Caleb Cameron will be centering Macon's starting line tonight. Number 21 having missed the last, Stathis Sumalitis having missed the last 19 Mayhem games, 2 months in the ECHL, makes his long anticipated return to Macon. Fans absolutely exhilarated to have his services back. And Jake Trask, the team's leading goal scorer, second in the SPHL behind only his former teammate Ryan Salkeld, will line up alongside Caleb Cameron and Stathis Sumalitis. And Tanner Creel has been given the green light to start. He'll be starting his first game since March 1st. In that game, he got his first win with the Mayhem. Pretty good start, Tanner Creel. He stopped 37 of a possible 40 shots on goal, and a good way to earn his first win with the Mayhem organization. That was the last game he played in, and he's hoping to that was not just a one-time thing. He got the taste of victory with the Mayhem, and he wants that to keep going tonight. The Havoc are on an absolute roll. They've taken points in 7 straight. The Mayhem hoping to snap that little streak tonight and get a couple of points themselves on the board. Right now they sit 8 points behind the Havoc in the SPHL standings. So before our little pregame surprise, the singing of our country's national anthem will take place, after which a special military appreciation welcome will be on hand for you on SPHL Live. Keep it right here, folks.
Tonight's colors are members from the Macon Recruiting Station of the United States Army. Ask that you please remain standing as Airman First Class Rachel Grant from the 461st Maintenance Squadron at Robins Air Force Base performs tonight's national anthem.
That was Airman First Class Rachel Grant over at Robins Air Force Base, about 20 miles south of here in Warner Robins. She's in the 461st Maintenance Squadron there. Stick tap extended in the direction of Rachel Grant for that outstanding rendition of our country's national anthem. The color guard makes its way off the ice, and at center ice, folks, we ask you to keep your attention there, as we'll have a very special, exciting ceremony taking place right before puck drop. Charles Olson, our PA announcer, making everybody known of this And looks like we'll actually have one more thing to take care of before that takes place. Captain Jerry Smalls of the U.S. Army will be dropping the puck in our ceremonial puck drop. The captains will meet down there in the far corner in the Huntsville zone. The John Seamer met by Christian Powers, it appears. It was Stathis actually who did it. Stathis, Sumalitis, and Christian Powers. So Stathis has been back for a matter of days, and he's got the A right back on his sweater where it belongs. And now, take a look to the rafters, folks, as we have the privilege of having some of the members of the 75th Army Ranger Regiment rappelling from the ceiling here at the Macon Centreplex. It's such an honor for us to be able to witness this tonight. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, that was a privilege to witness. If you're watching this on SPHL Live, it doesn't do it justice. Chills here at the Macon Centreplex, seeing these five gentlemen who have served in tours all over the world, putting their own lives at risk to defend our freedoms. A lot of the Mayhem players skating over to them, congratulating them for an unbelievable performance there. The fans here absolutely loving that. Two shows for the price of one tonight, folks, I'll tell you that much. And a tip of the cap to our game ops coordinator, Colin Mitchell, for getting this all situated. We weren't sure if we'd be able to do this today, and courtesy of him and his hard work in getting this squared away and working with the Ranger Regiment, we were able to make it happen. So it was awesome to see, and if that doesn't fire the folks up here, I don't know what will. Opening face-off just moments away. The referee for tonight's Military Appreciation Night game is Stephen Hoshaw. The linesmen are Venance Lorenz and Dan Huntington. The puck drops, and the 49th game of the 2018-19 regular season for the Macon Mayhem is underway. A loose puck in the right circle, whacked towards the front of the net, and Salkeld couldn't get a shot off there as he was knocked to the ice as the puck came his way. Stathis Sumalidis will advance up the left wall and dump it into the left corner. Jake Trask will put the body on Peter Sakalis to try to force the defenseman to make a play. Stathis has his stick in there, poking and prying, trying to move the puck in a helpful direction here. And it's sent around the end wall out to the far half boards. Caleb Cameron will rattle it back to the point. Zach Urban with a head fake and a shot that deflects in behind the goal. Caleb Cameron is knocked down to his knees, but he gets back up. Stathis has it in the corner now on the near side. He carries behind the net, also goes to his knees, sends it out in front. Carter Horwitz with a pinch, but he recovers as the Huntsville Havoc commence a 3-on-2 the other direction, but they're near the end of a shift. Their defensemen have already gone to the bench. Horwitz has it in the corner on the near side. It's sent over to the left side of the post. A long point shot misfires, and Tanner Creel never had to make a save. Sutliff's pass misses Jake Trask, goes the length, and an icing call is forthcoming against Macon. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. 18:47 to go in the opening period here on Military Appreciation Night. No score between the Mayhem and the Huntsville Havoc. Tomorrow, of course, is also Military Appreciation Night. $10 for all active and retired military members. Just bring your identification to the box office, and you'll get that discounted ticket. It's also a family four-pack night. We've got a lot of families of four coming to tomorrow night's game as well. Tanner Creel makes his first save of the game with his pads in the butterfly on a one-time shot coming from Nolan Kaiser from the blue line. And now it's Danny Caesar fighting for it against Sign Nukovic in the far corner. Carter Horwitz is separated by Tyler Piacentini, who drives to the front of the net. It might have grazed the outside of the right post with his shot attempt, and Christian Powers now is stood up by Zach Urban in the corner on the near side. The former Toledo Walleye can't move it up the wall far enough to clear it as Creel makes a point-blank save, and they score on the rebound. It's Tyler Piacentini off a bad icing, a costly icing called against Macon. Comes back to haunt the Mayhem, and the Havoc are off and running with a 1-0 lead in the first minute and 45 into the contest. On that last icing, Jake Trask couldn't get off the ice. He had been out there a long time, and so had Zach Urban. The two of them, if I'm not mistaken, out there since the opening face-off. And that's a recipe for disaster, and disaster just happened. The Havoc are up 1-0 early. Huge hit delivered by Jimmy Soper against Derek Pearl in the corner on the near side of the Huntsville zone. It's rattled back in by Jake Fiella. Soper forechecking hard. The puck springs loose and rolls right in front of the Havoc net, where Alec Brandrup scoops it up and will try to clear. He succeeds. It's recovered in the neutral zone. Turned over right in front. Trevor Gerling couldn't get a shot off. The Mayhem able to escape unscathed, but they have just cleared the puck out of play. Will that be a penalty against Macon? I believe so. Delay of game will be the call against Sean Lynch, who's making his Mayhem debut tonight. Sean Lynch coming off of a pretty successful 4-season college career at Utica. He had a really good senior year, 28 games played, almost as many points as he had games, 11 goals, 16 assists, 27 points. He's also the cousin of Mayhem assistant coach Ryan Michael. Above the left circle, it's Ryan Salkeld up to Alec Brandrup. Peter Sakalis kicks it to his stick, gets it right back from Brandrup. Sakalis sends one circle to circle. It deflects off the stick of Cameron, but reaches the intended target, Ryan Salkeld. Now it's the goal scorer, Piacentini, who turns and wires it wide to the left elbow of the net. As it caroms out to the right point, Alec Brandrup sends it in below the net, centering pass. One-timer, Tanner Creel comes up big with a nice aggressive save on Kyle Sharkey. Nice crisp movement by the Havoc on this power play. Entering the game, the Havoc on the man advantage, second best in the league, 20.7% success rate, countered by Macon's 78.2% on the PK, which is second to last in the SPHL. Piacentini lines up to take an offensive zone draw, countered by Jimmy Soper. Dan Huntington sort of faking the two of them out with a few errant puck drops. And finally, he drops it. Soper wins the draw, but Huntsville maintains possession nevertheless. Brandrup to Sakalis, who hammers a one-timer that gets blocked by Horwitz. and flies out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. We're 3 minutes into the contest here at the Centreplex. 1-0 the score in favor of Huntsville, courtesy of Tyler Piacentini's 12th goal on the campaign. Piacentini's not a big guy, but he knows how to put the puck in the back of the net. He's a Boston native, smallest player on the ice at 5'6", 157. He's got it now behind the Macon goal line. He will cycle it up to Salkeld at the left point. The ex-Buffalo State Bengal, now it's rotated to Sikalis in the right circle. Back up to the top of the umbrella. Brandrup's shot is blocked by Soper, who guns it down. Brandrup is able to get there first. He eludes Seamer, who finishes him off. Might have gotten an elbow up high on him. I think Glenn DeTulio is upset there's no penalty called. Play resumes. Sharkey drives in, shovels a backhander well wide of the cage. Salkeld scoops it up in the circle. He wheels up to the high slot with it, sends it to Sharkey. Wrong-handedness, but he craftily maintains possession. Sharkey wrists it. Blocker save Creel. Loose puck. Rolls just wide of the net. And Horwitz scurrying to the rescue, trying to clear it. Can't do so. Derar up to the blue line. Kaiser back to Derar above the right circle. Returns it for Kaiser, whose one-timer is on target. And it deflects, I believe, off Creel's shoulder. Perhaps Zach Urban. And it flies out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. And play will continue here. There will be a face-off in the right circle in the Macon zone. Pretty emotional night, I would say, for Tanner Creel, who started his college career at Army West Point for the Black Knights and then transferred to UConn after his freshman year. Huntsville failing to keep the puck in the attacking zone as it dribbles over the line, and Sumalitis will pursue it. He whacks it behind the goal, tries to make something happen. Time is winding down on this Huntsville power play. 10 seconds to go on it. Caleb Cameron backpedaling, flings it off the stick of, I believe that was Christian Powers on the forecheck. It went off of him and out of play. Christian Powers, always a force to be reckoned with. He's played the Mayhem pretty tough this season, and last year his numbers were almost off the charts. He had a 28-goal season, which was second best in the SPHL. Though he hasn't scored at quite that rate this season, he's been a productive player all the same. There'll be a neutral zone face-off on the Mayhem half of the ice, immediately whacked down by Caleb Cameron, who tells his bench he's going to be staying out there as the Mayhem have returned to full strength. Sean Lynch is out of the box, and he will immediately skate to the Macon bench. Jake Trask is his replacement as Cam forces the issue in behind the opposing net. Huntsville is out to center, and beyond that, Gerling slips away from a couple of checks, then drives down his off wing. He mishandles it. Jake Trask picks his pocket and is joined by Sumalitis on the rush. The two of them give and go across the blue lines, and Trask puts it on net. It's dealt aside by Max Milasek. The puck flutters into the circle area on the near side, and Anthony Calabrese will skate into the neutral zone. He is stymied by Cameron. He recovers and dumps it into the Macon zone. Nick Minerva's got it in the far corner. He will roll it up the wall on the far side. Minerva intercepting Huntsville's pass and will commence the counterattack 3-on-3. His pass reaches Sutliff. It's rolling down the left wing. He's pinned up by Alec Brandrup as it's battled for in the near corner. Danny Caesar forces a loose puck to roll into the slot, but Alec Brandrup was there to send it out of harm's way. Kyle Sharkey will now rattle it into Macon territory. Carter Horwitz has it. The Endicott College product. Banks it off his own end wall to his D partner, Zach Urban. Kyle Sharkey, far corner, is checked by Danny Caesar, making his Mayhem debut wearing the number 16 this evening. And Caesar will pop one up to John Seamer, who will race down the right wing. He's joined by Sutliff, crashing the net. Sutliff gets the pass, drops it for Caesar, who puts it on goal. Pad save by Milasek. That's Danny Caesar's first shot with the Mayhem. Now it's Sharkey. Skating 3 against 2. Jarrett Cupp breaks up the pass, and it floats into the glove of Tanner Creel, who makes the save. 14:04 to play in the first period. 1-0 the score in favor of the Huntsville Havoc. That lone goal tonight scored by Tyler Piacentini, his 12th on the campaign. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. You listen to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group package. Whether you're a school, a church, a company, or just a group of friends, give the Mayhem office a call and we'll set you up with an incredible group deal. From $13 tickets to free team hats to a unique experience upgrade of your choosing, the Mayhem have got you and your group covered. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today.
Oh, about 6 minutes have passed in the first period of play here. It's the Mayhem's third to last game this regular season. Big round of applause and stick tap to the gentleman who participated in that rappel drop. Boy, oh boy, folks, I got to tell you, just watching that, my palms were sweating. It looked pretty exhilarating. I don't think I'd be willing to do that, and I don't consider myself to be afraid of heights, but I loved roller coasters growing up. I don't think that's the same thing. So a well-deserved round of applause and tribute to those brave men and women who put their own lives at risk and sacrifice their own well-being to preserve our freedoms. Nolan Kaiser is deemed to have not been able to keep it at the blue line. As such, we've got an offside. The ensuing draw will come out to the neutral zone here. Macon tonight sitting 4 points behind Knoxville for that highly coveted fourth seed. The Fayetteville Marksmen and the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs all within striking distance, or both within striking distance, I should say. They sit just 1 and 3 points behind the Mayhem, respectively, in the standings. Tanner Creel rims it around to the far boards. Nick Minerva's got it, far corner. With his head up, he will chisel it up the wall. Kept in the zone and fluttered wide of the net. Going after it is Caleb Cameron, or rather Sean Lynch, who is pressured by P.S. and Teeny. He'll make the safe play and give it to Larry Smith behind his own net. Smith sends it across his own blue line. Huntsville will immediately rattle it back in. Creel is behind his net. Will drop it off for Nick Minerva. Piacentini was in the F1. Now he will motor his way to the Huntsville bench to complete a line change. Calabrese stealing the puck at center ice. It's spirited into Macon territory. Tanner Creel decides to think better of it and just take a whistle and a stoppage of play. 13-12 to go in the first. 1-0 Huntsville is your score. It's another busy night in the SPHL, folks. And just like normally on Friday nights, everyone in the league is playing tonight. Yeah, Quad City Storm are in Fayetteville, and they are down 4-0. So if Fayetteville holds on for a win, I know the Mayhem not cheering for Fayetteville certainly, but if they can hold on for that win, then the Mayhem will officially clinch a playoff berth. So this might be the only time for the rest of the season the Mayhem are hopeful for a Fayetteville victory. Jake Fayella's got it behind his own cage. He will send it up to Jake Trask. He's barely able to clear it over his own blue line, and it's fired back in immediately by the Havoc, who have not allowed the Mayhem to cross the center red line very often in this game. Huge hit delivered by Stathis Soumalides, and that's a big welcome back moment for the Czech Republic native. That big check brought to you by Harrison's Body Shop Collision Repair. Anthony Calabrese has it on his blade. He will fling one all the way down the ice. This will be an icing call against Huntsville. That icing's been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Anthony Calabrese, the guilty party. Calabrese played 24 games out in Germany this season, in Germany's third league. Hasn't been in Huntsville too long, has played 10 games here, registered 3 assists, still looking for his first goal with the Havoc. The only Havoc player dressed tonight yet to get his first. Danny Caesar winning the offensive zone draw. It's dropped back to the line, and the one-timer taken by Urban flutters harmlessly into the corner on the near side of the ice. Here's Sutliff, curls his way behind the net and slips it in front, not in the wheelhouse of Seamer. The Havoc have cleared the danger for now, and Zach Urban will retreat to get it. The Calgary native, Zach Urban, sends it out to Nick Minerva. John Seamer with a bit of a mishandle in the neutral zone. It's sent back up the left wall. Into the zone, it's sent by Caesar, who recovers it at the left point. He flings it at the net, and Max Milasek is able to rob him with his glove. Danny Caesar, somebody that the Mayhem were very excited to bring on board. He came over in the Justin Levesque trade, a 3-way deal with the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs and the Quad City Storm, which sent Brian Rowland and Sam Wilbur's rights up to Quad City. And Caesar's been a point-per-game player in the SPHL this season, one of Knoxville's leaders for the last couple of years. It caroms off the half wall on the near side. Dakota Klecha scoops it up. He will motor behind the net. Jimmy Soper centers. Klecha whiffs on the one-timer. And the Havoc have cleared it out into neutral territory. Jake Fiella missed the last 12 Mayhem games due to his tenure with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits in the ECHL, playing under the tutelage of former Mayhem head coach Kevin Kerr. Ryan Salkeld from the corner on the far side will pop it up to the top. Point-blank opportunity is sent wide by Derar, the ex-Reading Royal, pursuing Sean Lynch, who's able to get it out of his own zone safely. Huntsville sending it right back into Macon territory. Caleb Cameron to scoop it up beneath his own goal line with 11 minutes remaining in period 1. Fiella to Cameron. Cameron up to Sumalides, who tips it into Huntsville territory. Pat Condon sends it behind his own net. Christian Powers, with help from his teammates, gets it out of the zone. Sumalides turns with it. Didn't have an option to pass to. Nolan Kaiser has just sent it the length on net, so no icing, as Creel will play it up to Zach Urban. Oh, and Christian Powers took a run at Urban, but it was Powers who ended up getting the blunt end of that collision. He went down. Big hit brought to you by Harrison's Body Shop, as Trask will wheel it down to Cameron in the corner on the far side of the ice. Sumalides finishes his check, like he always does. That's something that was also missed in Stathis' game, along with his skill, was his grit and his willingness to dish out the big hits. He's a nightmare to battle against in the corners. Zach Urban sends it up into the neutral zone. Derek Sutliff redirects it in the vicinity of Peter Sakalis. While falling, Anthony Calabrese, with a wonderful effort, has gotten it out to center. Caesar, left side, centers a good pass. Seamer is in, he drops it off. Here's a shot stopped by Millisek, and the Havoc have eluded the danger for now. Minerva took the shot, he hustles back. Rahoriak dropping it for the tail gunner. It's sent over to Sakalis, who snaps a shot off. It's blocked, and it bounces back to the left point. It's Trevor Gerling who holds up and sends a wrist shot on goal. Tanner Creel making the save. 9:35 to play in the first period. The best chance of the game for the Mayhem, snuffed out by a big save made by Max Millisek on Nick Minerva. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Need to raise some money for your organization? Contact the Mayhem front office and we'll be happy to partner up with your group to help you fundraise for a cause. You buy tickets from us at $10, you sell them for $15, and then you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whatever cause you like. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to set up a fundraiser for your organization today.
In case you were wondering, folks, because I'm sure there are some of you out there who were, we did catch up with Stathis Sumalides. We've got an interview from him coming your way in the first intermission of tonight's game. The second intermission, we may play back some of our old line change episodes. Unfortunately, from this past week, we couldn't get it recorded. It had some technical difficulties. We also had a Creekside interview on Monday morning with Jimmy Soper. I'll play that one during the second intermission tonight as well. Jimmy Soper having already delivered a few bone-crushing body checks here tonight, which is a huge part of his game as well. Jarrett Cup from behind his own net flings it out to the neutral zone. Derek Pearl intercepts it. Under duress from Sutliff, Pearl goes tumbling awkwardly into the boards near the bench, but it's sprung ahead for Salkeld, who turns the corner and shoots. Creel with a big save. Salkeld to the backhander that goes wide of the net. Cup scoops it up and sends it around the boards out to the right point. Brandrup sends it off the skates of Sharkey. Sharkey in the slot fires, fought off by the glove of Creel. Cup under lots of pressure. He was surrounded by white sweaters. Salkeld, one of them, is pickpocketed by Cup, who will begin the zone exit for the Mayhem. And his team can breathe a sigh of relief as he alleviates the danger for the time being. Excellent defensive shift by Jarrett Cup, doing some really nitty-gritty work in behind his own net and giving the Mayhem a chance to not only breathe but also to complete a line change, which was much needed. Max Millisek from behind his own net will send it out to Pat Condon. Condon's pass is a nice one. It found Powers. The Havoc are clearly offside, and a late whistle blows the play dead, and we get a stoppage of play. .22 to go in the first. 1-0 Havoc is your score. Right now, shots looks like favor the Mayhem 8-3. Not sure if those are current or not. We'll get a neutral zone draw all the same. on the near side of the ice, opposite the Macon bench. Nolan Kaiser kicks it to his stick and dumps it into Macon territory. The last time the Havoc were in this building, Nolan Kaiser was suspended. That was the only time this season the Havoc have played here. It's pretty remarkable given their proximity between the two squads. Not only that, but the rivalry, which has now spanned 4 seasons and has gotten pretty hostile, especially over the last couple. Pat Condon for Nolan Kaiser. He backhands a pass in the direction of John Shivo. Won the gold medal in 2017 within the IIHF World Roller Hockey Championships. Caleb Cameron crisscrosses with Trask, who he leaves it for. Trask the shot, Milasek the save. The rebound was waiting there for Sumalitas, but it was scooped up first by Trevor Gerling, who Sumalitas pummeled into the boards. He's going to be penalized for it, and a fight breaks out as a result. Chaos ensues after that hit by Stathis Sumalitas, which was penalized for a hit from behind. And Stathis always one to finish his checks. Sometimes he just can't help himself. And that was a situation where Gerling was in a little bit of a vulnerable position there. I don't think there was any malicious intent by Stathis Sumalitas, but maybe could have done better. Could have done a better job of avoiding contact from that spot. And Trevor Gerling gave him a piece of his mind on his way back to the Huntsville bench. Hopefully he's all right. Stathis will sit for the next couple of minutes. Didn't take long for him to make his presence renown here at the Macon Centreplex. He's missed the last 19 games as the Czech Republic native. Started first with the ECHL's Florida Everblades, and then was released, and the Norfolk Admirals claimed him off of waivers. The Mayhem were hopeful that he would come back, but he got an opportunity to go play in Norfolk, and we want our players to get the best opportunities they can against the best competition they can, and Stathis will tell you all about it during the first intermission of tonight's game. Played 17 games in the coast this season between Florida and Norfolk. Registered a goal and 2 assists up in the ECHL. So 2 minutes for boarding, the penalty called against Stathis. Kaiser will fling one over. And Nukovic with a loose touch had it kicked too far into his path. The Mayhem able to skate away with it. Cameron fed it to Minerva, whose shot is blocked by Kaiser. Kaiser finished Minerva into the corner boards on the far side of the ice, and Huntsville's deadly power play is getting a second opportunity. The Havoc, the most disciplined team in the SPHL, still have managed to stay out of the box, even after that kerfuffle that transpired after Sumalitas' hit. But they're 0 for 1 on the power play tonight. Powers centers it, and the intention was for Rahoriak to pull the trigger, but he couldn't do so. Rahoriak, something of a power play specialist for Glenn DeTulio and the Havoc. Ranks second on the team with 5 power play goals this season. Nukovic will send one around the end wall. Fayella shovels it back the opposite direction. Kalis collides in the corner on the near side, trying to spring the puck loose away from Jarrett Cup. Goes behind the net. Piacentini will wobble it over to Salkeld. Now it's sent, or rather that was Nukovic who sent it to Kaiser. Now it's Sakalis who rips it wide of the left post. Cy Nukovic has it in the far half boards. The 31-year-old longtime SPHL veteran sent it down to the goal line. Piacentini's pass was not in the wheelhouse for Kyle Sharkey. Sharkey receives the pass from his goaltender. The Mayhem, as a result, not able to change everyone up. Cameron intercepts it, but he's at the end of a shift. He will send it into Huntsville territory. It's halted by Max Milasek with less than 6 minutes remaining in period 1, 23 to go on the power play. It's brought down the left wing side by Kyle Sharkey, who's dispossessed of it by Zach Urban. The Mayhem's longest tenured defenseman is able to clear it all the way down, and that'll just about do it for the Mayhem's penalty kill. That Mayhem penalty kill was brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. They are 2 for 2 tonight. They've looked good so far against a very formidable Huntsville power play. John Seamer from the right corner, dipsy-doodling his way around. Anthony Calabrese able to take it off his stick. Minerva forechecking below the Huntsville goal line. Not often do you see that from a defenseman, but he's got a forward, Derek Sutliff, playing his position for the time being. Salkeld kicked it. Minerva gave him a nice ride into the half wall. He gets to it first as well. Salkeld, far corner, sends it through the crease and bounces off the corner boards now on the near side. Derek Pearl pinches in. And referee Stephen Hoshaw had to jump over a stick handling Derek Pearl, and now it's halted in the blue paint by Tanner Creel. We'll get a whistle and a stoppage with 4:41 remaining here in the first period. 1-0 Huntsville is your score. This is our final media timeout of period one. We'll be back in a moment, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Next season, the Mayhem are offering the most inclusive and rewarding ticket package in team history. These perks extend over all 28 home games at the Macon Centreplex. Your season ticket package gets you 2 buddy passes to any of the 28 home games, a 32-ounce Mayhem souvenir cup with $3 refills, a discounted season-long parking pass with access to VIP parking, 10% savings at the Mac Shack, a Mayhem lanyard, early access to the arena before games, VIP entrance to the arena, 3 exclusive team gifts, talk with the coach before the games, and much more. Head to MaconMayhem.com to check out how you can secure your spot for the 2018-2019 season of Mayhem Hockey.
Huntsville able to win the offensive zone face-off to the left of Creel, but the Mayhem working hard to clear it have done so as Trask will close in on Pat Condon, who knocked it off of his stick eventually, and Sathas Sumalidas wins possession from him, however. He's held off the puck by Condon. Sumalidas lifts Condon's stick, but the puck sent into the high slot. The Havoc have been able to clear it a multitude of times from dangerous areas tonight. The Mayhem just not getting enough bodies forward fast enough, it seems like, at times, as it's played behind the Huntsville cage safely by Max Milasek, who rattles it around the boards. Jarrett Cup will scale it back in below the net. Stathis shoots and scores! Welcome back to Mactown. Stathis Sumalidas with a goal in his first game back after missing 19 has tied things up for the Mayhem. It's 1-1. That's what's been missed. Net front presence. Somebody who's got the willingness to not only go to the front of the net, but have the physical capacity to stay there for a long period of time. Stathis is a big enough guy to where he could fend off opposing checkers who are trying to move him from the most dangerous area on the ice. Sumalidas standing at 6'2", 213 pounds. As Caesar gets an opportunity in the left circle, tries to cue it up, but his shot is blocked by Sinukovic, who recovers and will carry behind his own cage. He will wheel out to the far side with it and skate through neutral territory. He's stymied by Caesar, turned over right to Horwitz, who marches right back in. He curls into the right circle and fires it wide of the right post. John Seamer closes the gap. Caesar's got it left half wall. Danny Caesar tries to filter one through. It's blocked by Peter Sakalis, collected by Seamer, set up for Sutliff, whose shot is stopped by Max Milasek. So Caleb Cameron and Jarrett Cup getting the assists on Stathis Sumalidas', that would be his 10th goal on the season, his 21st point. And he's only been back for a matter of days. He's already back on the score sheet. And that was a textbook Sumalidas goal, folks. A pretty clear-cut indication that the Mayhem are a much better team when he's in the lineup. Derek Pearl. Jimmy Soper's in the F1 right now. Pearl will start out to his left and sends it right up the middle. Goes off the half wall on the far side, of the sidewall rather. Kyle Sharkey lost possession. And Sean Lynch will send it in the direction of Jimmy Soper. Alec Brandrup recovers it as he will have it on his backhand as he motors out towards the neutral zone with it in front of the Huntsville bench. He's checked by Jimmy Soper. Brandrup sends it into the zone. Tanner Creel shovels it out to the far half boards. Larry Smith takes it away. Smith's got it. He will pass it to himself brilliantly and then send it up to Stathis Sumalitis on his left. Sumalitis chips it into Huntsville territory. Delivers a pretty big, sizable hit into the left corner on Pat Condon. Caleb Cameron now backpedaling at center. He will float one out to Rob Derar, who gloves it down and sends it back in. Tanner Creel leaves it for Jarrett Cupp, the Curry College graduate who led all defensemen in goals scored last season. Derek Sutliff forcing the turnover. Caleb Cameron able to seal the half wall and reverse it past Sutliff. Millisek wraps it around. Jarrett Cupp whacks it out of midair with a high stick, but Huntsville played it, so no whistle blows. It's floated wide of the net. Jake Fiala goes after it against Trevor Gerling. Gerling beats him to it, but Fiala eventually steals it from him. Now it's Sutliff twisting it around the far half wall. Jake Trask has it. His pass reaches Jarrett Cupp. Derek Sutliff is right behind him. Seamer goes to the front of the net. Sutliff's one-timer is fought off by Millisek. It's whacked all the way down. It slides a little bit wide of Creel's net. He will play it with his stick. No icing as the puck had taken a deflection. That's why Creel played the puck. Now it's Horwitz with a nice heads-up pass up to John Seamer. He will slice his way over the line, pull the trigger, blocked by Sakalis. Sends it wide of the net. Sutliff gets an opportunity, and Millisek robs him with the glove from point-blank range. Excellent pass by Seamer. Derek Sutliff tapping his stick subtly, no pun intended, at the bottom of the left circle. And John Seamer fed him a pass. Sutliff unleashed a one-timer, and Millisek somehow read the play like a book and had the post covered with his glove. I would say that's Millisek's best save of this game. Pretty close second being Nick Minerva's slot opportunity near the start of the period. Derek Pearl sends it into the Macon zone. It's fired around the far half boards, turned on net. Creel with a butterfly save. Urban goes fighting for it against Tyler Piacentini, who chisels it now into the near side. It's worked back up to the line. Alec Barandrup will send it into the adjacent corner. Powers over to Cy Nukovic. The alternate captain wheels it up to Derek Pearl, who floats a shot wide of the left post. Zach Urban and his pass roll up the slot. John Seamer able to spring one along for Danny Caesar, who returns it to Seamer. Caesar crashes the net. Seamer with the shot from a very sharp angle that sails over the crossbar and is ultimately sent into Macon territory. 8 seconds remain in the period as Nick Minerva scoops it up. If he wants to get a shot on goal, he's got to hurry, as he will skate right in front of his own net with it and turn back, and that'll do it for period one. A wild first period on hand here at the Macon Centreplex. A goal from each side and a little Donnybrook that transpired after a big hit delivered by Stathis Sumalitis. He has been the story of period one for the Mayhem folks. At least probably 2 or 3 good hits, I would say. Typical textbook Stathis Sumalitis hockey. He's doing his thing again, going into corners, battling hard for pucks, getting his stick in the dirty areas, throwing his body around, and going to the front of the net and scoring goals. Everything that we've come to love about Stathis Sumalitis was incarnate in that first period of play, and I think it's safe to say that the Mayhem faithful elated to have him back in Macon. So Tyler Piacentini, Stathis Sumalitis, the lone goal scorers of period one. Piacentini getting his team on the board first with a point-blank opportunity in which he just sort of shoveled it over the blocker of Tanner Creel upstairs. It went off the elbow of the net down into it and gave Huntsville a 1-0 lead, which they held on to for a little while, but the Mayhem were eventually able to recover and level things up, courtesy of a Stathis Sumalitis goal about 14 minutes later. Caleb Cameron and Jarrett Cupp were given the assists on that goal scored by Sumalitis, his 10th with the Mayhem this season. Didn't take him long at all to contribute. Only 11 shots on goal total between the two teams. At least that's what's registered. Macon with 6, Huntsville with 5. Well, if you're a goaltender and you like your stats to look good, this might not be the night for you. But that's unfortunate because the stats aren't exactly telling of the way the goaltenders played in that first period. Both Max Millisek and Tanner Creel having to make a couple of big saves. I'd say Millisek especially, with that save on Derek Sutliff. I thought that would certainly be a goal for Sutliff. He's scored 2 goals in as many home games. And John Seamer set him up brilliantly from below the goal line. Sutliff tapping his stick. Received the pass from Seamer and just one-timed a shot from his sweet spot, really. Derek Sutliff has scored the majority of goals this season from around that area. And Max Millisek was able to rob him with the glove on the short side. The short side post. So Millisek's played well. The Mayhem penalty kill looking really strong, going 2 for 2 in the first 20 minutes of play. Huntsville's penalty kill did not get an opportunity, and nor did Macon's power play. So 2 for 2 on the PK for Macon, 0 for 0 on the power play. 1-1 your score through the first 20 minutes of play. As luck would have it, the man we spoke to before this game started, Stathis Soumalides, was the lone Mayhem player to score a goal in that first period. We'll hear from Stathis next on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Folks, keep it right here. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live, powered by New Line and on YouTube.
All right, welcome back, everyone. And again, thanks so much for joining us tonight on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live, powered by New Line and on YouTube. I had the pleasure of being joined by a longtime friendly face, Stathis Soumalides. Stathis, first off, welcome back to Macon, and we're thrilled to have you back here.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be back.
Well, it's great to have you, I'll tell you that much. You spent 17 games in the ECHL this season. You were sorely missed here in Macon. Talk about what your experience was like, first in Florida with the Everblades and then in Norfolk with the Admirals.
I mean, it was great, especially the guys that are on the NHL contracts and AHL contracts, and it was pretty cool to see what are they doing, and not only on the ice but off the ice, and yeah, it was just a cool experience. Watch all these guys, and I just had a great time there.
Yeah, I can only imagine, especially in Florida with the weather down there. I can only imagine it was a lot of fun all the way down in Estero, Florida. And am I pronouncing it right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's right by the Fort Myers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I had a blast. It was great.
That's awesome. Well, from watching some of those guys with NHL and AHL contracts, was there anything you were able to take away that you think you might be able to sort of apply to your game, or maybe not even your game, but just your pregame rituals and whatnot?
I'm not a big ritual guy. I mean, I have one or two, but I don't really do anything. I don't do really stuff like that. But just on the ice was pretty cool stuff they do, and I mean, they all what they do before practice and after practice. They always do something extra before or after practice. They work on the stuff what they need. They all know what they need to do or where they gotta get better and stuff. So it was pretty cool.
So while you were up there, did you keep tabs in the Mayhem? Did you pay pretty close attention to what the team was doing and watch box scores and text some of the players here and there?
Yeah, I talk to the guys pretty much all the time, and I keep up with all the scores and the games. Yeah, and then I know the guys were struggling a little bit there, but I think it's gonna change now.
Yeah, we are definitely optimistic now with you coming back. Obviously, is a huge boost, and then with Jake Fiala coming back and Danny Caesar debuting, and some new talent coming aboard as well, and Alexander Tallinn reaching the end of suspension, things are definitely looking up now for the Mayhem. Stathis, you've been back with the team now, practicing again this week. How did it feel to sort of get back on the ice with them, and especially some of the guys that have been here with this team for as long as, or if not longer than you've been here, like your Jake Trasks and guys that you won a President's Cup with a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun just skating with all the guys like that, and I had a lot of fun. I mean, it was pretty hard skate because up in the ACHL they play so many games that all the practices are pretty easy. It's always like 20-30 minutes, and then we had a practice that it was like 1 hour, and everybody really was going hard at practice, and so I was glad I could keep up with all the guys. And then I had a lot of fun being out here skating with Trasker and then Seamer and Cam Kemmer. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always got to be fun when you can reunite with some old friends and teammates of yours who are close with you, not just on the ice, but off the ice as well. By the way, folks, sorry about the sound. They're testing the the audio for a really special surprise. We've got pregame. I suppose it's not a surprise anymore because I'm going to tell you what they're doing. We've got military personnel who are going to be rappelling down from the ceiling as it's going to be a helicopter deplane or de-helicopter situation, basically, where they rappel down from the ceiling, and we're really looking forward to that. We think that should be an awesome little touch to Military Appreciation Weekend. And speaking of Military Appreciation Weekend status, you guys are going to be wearing specialty one-of-a-kind jerseys this weekend, both tonight and tomorrow night. Now you're not from the States originally. You were from the Czech Republic, but you've been in the States now for 5 or 6 years. Does it mean anything to you being able to sort of sport these colors and wear the red, white, and blue on your uniform tonight and tomorrow night?
Yeah, obviously it does. I mean, I've been here for a long time enough, to kind of know what is this all about and stuff. And not only in the U.S., I mean, it's back in Greece, there's a mandatory military, so everybody has to go. And so it's always a pretty special moment, and I'm sure it's gonna be pretty special tonight too.
Yeah, it certainly should be. So with that going on tomorrow night, and there's going to be 150 airmen from the base tomorrow night, and then they're rappelling tonight. So we've got lots of military-related festivities, and it should be a fun weekend. The last home full weekend the Mayhem are having this regular season. There will be one more home game after this weekend on Friday, March 29th. All right, last question for you, Stathis, and I'll let you get going. Huntsville's in town. They're the defending champs. They've been on a nice little roll lately. They've won 6 out of their last 7 games. They're on a nice little streak here. We've got lots of new players hitting the ice tonight. So with that in mind, what are some of your keys for a successful game?
Really good. I mean, they're very good offensively. I don't think they're very good defensively. So we all gotta be responsible in our zone, and just play as much as we can in their zone, and just bring it to find the shortest way to the net, and keep the game simple.
That sounds like good keys to the game, Stathis. Well, I really appreciate your time, and good luck out there in your first game back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's Stathis Soumalides returning to the Mayhem after missing the last couple of months while he was in the ECHL. We're thrilled to have him back. He'll be wearing number 21 again for the Mayhem for the rest of the season. This has been your first intermission report. We'll be right back with your Hampton Inn and Suites out-of-town scoreboard update and more right after these messages.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Well, we hope you enjoyed that intermission with Mayhem forward Stathis Soumalides with a goal in his first game back after missing 19 straight. He's been unbelievable so far in the short time he's been back. He was delivering hits. He did get a penalty for boarding against Trevor Gerling. It was an untimely hit by Stathis Soumalides, who probably could have been a little bit more careful in the manner in which he delivered that hit. But it wasn't too severe, and I think that's why it was only a 2-minute minor. I think that was the right call. Trevor Gerling would finish the period, so he is fine. And Stathis recovered in the best possible way. He went back out there, and if I'm not mistaken, it was probably his second shift back after serving that penalty, maybe his first, honestly, folks, because the penalty he was given took place at 12:32. He scored at 15:58, so that might have been Stathis's first shift after going to the penalty box, and he put the Mayhem on the board, got their first goal of the night to tie the score up at 1. So Soumalides, like we said before we took our break, has been has really not missed a beat. He stepped back into this role in front of some fans who have just come to love him over the years, and I can't find a better way to say this than that he has been Stathis Soumalides. He's been exactly who these fans have come to know and love over the past few seasons. He is one of just 3 Mayhem players now to have won the President's Cup with this organization 2 seasons ago. John Seamer, Jake Trask did so with Stathis, the AAAs. That AAA line, by the way, no longer a thing, at least not right now. Coach Thomas mixing things up a little bit. And what's interesting, we thought that if the AAA line was not reunited when Sumalitis came back, it would be because Trask and Seamer had found a new line mate in Josh Keplinger, who scored 5 goals in his first 2 games with, or excuse me, his first 3 games with the Mayhem in this building a couple of weeks ago. Had an 8-point weekend, was the SPHL's Warrior Hockey Player of the Week. And obviously couldn't follow that up last weekend. I don't think anyone could. But he's actually a healthy scratch tonight. He's not in the lineup. Coach Thomas going with Igor Babinin, giving the young Russian who just turned 21 yesterday an opportunity. Coach Thomas spoke about Igor a little bit in the pregame show, and in case you missed it, I'll just sort of reiterate what Coach Thomas said. Basically that Igor's a really young player. He's given him a chance to sort of get a taste for what the pro scene is like here in the States. This is his professional debut, and like we said, he just turned 21 yesterday. He's the youngest guy out there by far, so he's not going to be getting a lot of ice time tonight, folks. But Coach Thomas wants to give him a chance. So Babinin in the lineup tonight, and Keplinger, Alexander Tallinn, healthy scratches for Macon. Seth Ronsberg is out with injury, and so is Kristaps Bazovics. So lots of moving pieces coming and going. And speaking of which, folks, the only one we didn't really, actually there are 2 players who are making their debut tonight for the Mayhem. 3, if you count Babinin. 2 others, I should say, in Danny Caesar and in Sean Lynch. Lynch had a few shifts. Unfortunately, he was penalized, and I think that was probably his first shift. His first pro shift got a delay of game penalty. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are at the D3 level. He played at Sean Lynch played 4 seasons at Utica College and had a good senior year there. And I'm not sure if at that level you're allowed to clear the puck directly out of play from the defensive zone. I do know that at the junior level it's permissible, but at the pro scene it's not. And that's an adjustment I had to make because I broadcasted for 3 seasons in the North American Hockey League before coming here. And there were a few things that were different about that league in terms of the rules. Just to name a few, there's no trapezoid rule. The goaltenders are allowed to play the pucks in the corners at the junior level in the United States. The shootouts are a little bit different. It's a best of 3, not a best of 5 like it is here. There's no delay of game penalty, and there are never timeouts that are called after icings, which I have to say is something I actually preferred about the rules there. A few of the rules at the pro scene I prefer over there. So anyways, one of those rules was broken. Sean Lynch clearing the puck directly over the glass out of play. 2:24 into the contest, he would be penalized. The Mayhem, it would not cost them. The Mayhem would successfully kill it off. That was their first of 2 penalties they would fight off in period 1. Other than that, I think he had a pretty solid a pretty solid first period of play. From what I remember, he helped the Mayhem out quite a bit, clearing the zone, getting pucks out of their own zone, especially along the left half boards. Tonight, Sean Lynch is on a line with Jimmy Soper and Dakota Kletcha. So a lot of grit on that line. And then, of course, Danny Caesar, who was a pretty highly touted acquisition in the blockbuster trade, which sent Justin Levesque to Roanoke and Brian Rowland and Sam Wilbur to Quad City, and ultimately Sam Wilbur to Fayetteville in another deal that stemmed from that. So just a lot of trades. And the Mayhem certainly happy to be receiving Danny Caesar at the end of all that. I had the chance to meet him and speak with him a little bit. Outstanding guy. Really happy to be here. And I spoke with him about what it was about being in Macon that was so, because he was, he told me that he was overjoyed to come to Macon. And I asked him a little bit about why that was, and he told me that over his 4 seasons playing with the Knoxville Ice Bears, this was the one opponent he always hated playing against the most, primarily due to the speed in their transition game and whatnot, and the skill that they have and how hard they hit. And they did all 3 of those things in the first period, the Mayhem did, and it was a slow start, certainly, but we talked about it in the pregame show, in my humble opinion. Competing a full 60-minute game and finishing strong is more important than starting strong tonight, just by virtue of the way things have gone for the Mayhem of late. Mayhem have actually lost 5 of their last 6 games in which they've scored first. So they've actually been playing better when they've allowed the first goal lately, as crazy as that sounds. Which, who knows, maybe that's a good sign, the fact that the Mayhem trailed against Huntsville in this game to start things out. Remember, folks, the only time Huntsville's played in this building nearly 2 months ago, January 25th, they got the first goal in that game too. Alec Brandrup, coming into this game, has been the only Havoc player all season to score a goal in this building. The Mayhem would go on to score 4 unanswered and would seal the deal with a 4-1 win before being defeated out in Huntsville in that home-and-home series. As a matter of fact, that would be the first time the Mayhem scored the first goal and didn't go on to win the game. Since then, it's been pretty downhill for Macon in terms of scoring first and not getting the result. It's been a strange phenomenon. 1-1 is the score here at the Macon Centreplex. Goals scored by Tyler Piacentini and Stathis Sumilidis in that order. Piacentini's goal coming just 1:45 into the contest. Sumilidis responding 14 minutes and 13 seconds later, 15:58, getting his first goal since his return just a couple of days ago. He and Jake Fiala came down from the ECHL at roughly the same time. And Coach Thomas, along with many others, were elated to hear the news. Second period, puck drop just about underway. Dan Huntington will drop it at the Macon Mayhem logo at center ice. Caleb Cameron against Rob Derar in the face-off circle. Second period hockey here at the Macon Centreplex is underway on this military appreciation night. Cameron finished his check on Sharkey, who got rid of it before sustaining that hit by Cameron, and Sumilidis will backhand it out of the zone. Cameron will turn his attention into the Huntsville end. He will now drop it for Trask, who's stood up but recovers, gets back onto the puck and shovels it below the cage. Bounces off the back of it. Cameron catches up to it in the corner on the near side. His pass was intended for Sumilidis. Now it slides out to the Mayhem logo at center. And Peter Sakalis will take over for the Havoc. He slaps it up to Rob Derar, who shuffleboards it along for Kyle Sharkey. His shot stopped by Creel. Loose puck bounces into the circle. It's been wedged up the boards out in the direction of Trask. He will be stymied by Derek Pearl, who sends it back to Brandrup. Salkeld redirects it into Macon territory, and now it's Zach Urban scooping it up behind his own cage. Urban lifts one off the glass as it sails near the red line, and Sutliff will spring Seamer the pass. Seamer with the shot. Glove save by Millisek. Cleared out past the blue line. Zach Urban couldn't hold it. Fiala will send it out in front of the Macon bench, and John Seamer will chip it into the Huntsville zone. Sutliff couldn't quite receive that hot pass that was sent his way by Danny Caesar. It's been cleared off the glass by Alec Brandrup. Piacentini's in pursuit of it. No icing. His cup will leave it craftily for Jake Fiala, who will clear it out to the red line. Brandrup had his pass intercepted. Good read by Cup. He commences the counterattack with Sutliff breaking towards the net. Piacentini intercepts his pass. Seamer holds the puck in the zone. His shot is blocked by Brandrup, who's able to scoot out to it and drop it for Pat Condon. Condon eludes John Seamer, who lifts his stick, tries to jimmy the puck free. Caesar will send one out in the direction of Jarrett Cup. He slaps one out to the neutral zone. Nolan Kaiser recovers behind his own cage. 2 minutes have gone by in the second period without a whistle. Kaiser slaps it hard up the middle, and it's Trevor Gerling who sustained that big hit delivered by Sumalitas back in the first period. It's flung out to the blue line. Pat Condon gets the shot off, and it whistles wide of the cage by a matter of inches. It missed the left post. Kaiser in front of his own bench takes a hit, but he made the play. Now it's Klecha scrapping forward along the near half boards with help by Nick Minerva. John Shivo, the former Mayhem. It's dropped back to Condon. He will slap it to Sakalis. He flutters it into the near corner of the ice, the Macon zone rather. Dakota Klecha picks the pocket of Shivo and clears it up as far as Jimmy Soper. He will redirect it into Sean Lynch's vicinity. Lynch gets there first. Soper sends a big hit on Rahoriak as Milasek just covers the puck up at the side of his goal. 17:05 to go here in the second period. 1-1 is your score. The Mayhem off to a much better start to this period than they were to the last one, that's for sure. Slow start. Since then, the Mayhem have looked pretty strong. These jerseys the Mayhem are wearing tonight, folks, will be available for auction after tomorrow night's game. The Mayhem will be hosting the Havoc for the last time this season. It'll be the last game in general against them as well until a possible playoff matchup. As Trask gets it off the draw, it's whacked off his blade and recovered in the neutral zone by Carter Horwitz. He will send it on back to Zach Urban. Sumalitas angles it off the boards on the near side. Horwitz rims it around towards Sumalitas. Calabrese was met by Cameron and Sumalitas, but he got rid of the puck in time. Derar sends it to Salkeld over the line. Now for Sharkey, right circle with a slap shot that's denied by Tanner Creel. The Yukon product, Tanner Creel, actually played a little bit with Trevor Gerling, a Seattle native and University of Connecticut grad. Played professionally in France last season, Trevor Gerling. Derar's line to take the offensive zone draw. He won it, but it's Danny Caesar taking it away. He will try to split the defense, sends it over, nice pass. Here's a shot, Milasek the save. He was able to deny Derek Sutliff for the second time tonight. Sutliff's had a couple of great shots that have been robbed by Max Milasek. Barandrup now. Cleared into the Mayhem zone. Jake Fiella will scoop it up. He cradles it behind his own net. Begins to race out with it. Sends it up to Danny Caesar. Caesar collects it and chisels one up the middle of the ice. It flutters just across the blue line. Huntsville able to clear it out. Fiella airmails it right into the glove of Max Milasek, who will just take a whistle in a defensive zone face-off. 4 minutes and 4 seconds have expired here in the second period. It's a 1-1 score. Macon's had much better control of the puck and has added much more offensive zone time and sustained attack this period than they did last period, certainly at the start of last period. Nukovic able to get the best of Soper on that face-off. Sean Lynch delivers a hit in the corner to force Nolan Kaiser to get rid of the puck quickly. Pat Condon sustains a collision by Soper, who centers it. Good pass, but it was too hot to handle for Lynch, who goes tumbling into the half wall on the far side. The Havoc have cleared it. It's swatted at by Nick Minerva and Tyler Piacentini, and that flying puck out of play has been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. The Mayhem this season, when entering the second period tied, are 9-5-2. They're 4-1-0 on home ice. They'll go to a defensive zone face-off to the right of Tanner Creel. Both he and his counterpart, Max Milasek, have been one save shy of perfect tonight. Stathis Sumalitas down the right wing side, is off wing. Trying to shield off Peter Sakalis. He pivots and centers for Trask. His point-blank opportunity is denied by Milasek. Trask didn't get all the lumber on that shot he wanted to, but I think he's telling Sumi it was a nice pass. And that chance there, Trask's stick was right between the skates of a Huntsville defender, who might have gotten a piece of it with his stick as well. And it looks like the AAA line has been reunited, folks, because we see John Seamer centering a unit with Jake Trask on his left, Sumalitas on his right. The two wingers on their opposite sides for the one-timer opportunities in the offensive zone. So Coach Thomas doing a little mid-game line shuffling here. It's wired back to the point. Derek Pearl holds it in the zone. He will send it into the right corner where it's wheeled out to the left circle for Sinukovic. He will spirit one back to the line. Derek Pearl steps into the left circle now. He will protect it from Seamer and drive. He shoots off the side of the net. Couldn't tuck it home over the blocker of Creel, and now it's Nukovic swooping in. Stick handling in a phone booth. Nukovic able to buy some time. It's centered out front, dropped off for Brandrup, fluttering around, collected by Brandrup, shoveled wide of the cage by Piacentini, and Sumalides is unable to clear. Good keep by Condon. Best shift of the period for the Havoc so far as it's wheeled to the outside, the perimeter of the zone, dropped off for Condon, whose long wrister goes through traffic, pad save Creel, and Jake Trask ends up with it on his blade. He will gain the red line and send it into Huntsville territory, forcing Max Milasek, who loves playing the puck, to do so. It's rimmed around. Fiala keeps it in the zone and fires. Milasek able to make a stick save. Now Trask is sized up by Nolan Kaiser on the far side. Trask chisels the puck free for Sutliff. He will wedge it up towards the point, and it's recovered outside of the zone by Sean Lynch. Fiala flies into the zone. Rather, that was Caesar who recovered it at center. Sutliff springs the puck loose. Kletcha puts it behind the net. Danny Caesar couldn't quite sidestep Kaiser while maintaining possession of the puck. Kletcha gets it. He spins it across, hoping for a backdoor attempt for Caesar, but it was outside of his reach. Sutliff spins it down to Kletcha, far corner. He's pinned up by Pat Condon. Puck's moved directly behind the net. Trevor Gerling will pick it up and begin to accelerate through neutral territory. Gerling is joined by Bose on his left. Bose will shoot. Stick saved by Creel, and the puck ended up going off the protective netting and out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. If I'm not mistaken, that's the first time we've said Josh Bose's name tonight. He is also an Endicott College product, just like Carter Horwitz. The two of them played together for 4 years at Endicott. Josh Bose wearing the number 8 tonight for the Huntsville Havoc, making his professional debut. 41 points in 26 games played up at the Ray Bork Center this past year. Had a tremendous senior season, as did Carter Horwitz. Teammates for the last 4 years turned adversaries tonight. .13:20 yet to play in the second period. We've got a 1-1 tie on our hands. The faceoff's going to be in the left circle in the Macon zone. Rob Derar versus Jimmy Soper. Won by the former of the two. As Sakalis' one-timer gets blocked and ricochets into the near corner, and Soper will shovel it up to Dakota Kletcha. Kletcha's pass reaches Sean Lynch, right side. He fires, glove saved by Milasek. Puck speared up to the line, and Minerva had crossed back over the blue line. The Mayhem were on a delayed offside. Soper is able to tag up. He will drop it off for a shot by Lynch, stopped by Milasek, and Soper goes tumbling over him, and that might lead to a little altercation. Milasek looks like he's in a little discomfort after making that stop. Sean Lynch getting a quick shot off there, forcing a big rebound off the equipment of Max Milasek. 12:54 to go in the second period. 1-1 is your score. Tanner Creel and Max Milasek, the goaltenders tonight. Tomorrow, we may get a chance to see old teammates turned rivals squaring off between the pipes. Ian Silvis and Mike De La Verne, both former Buffalo State University Bengals, or Buffalo State College Bengals. Brian Stalkeld, another one who played up there. Silvis and De La Verne going back a few years. They have played against one another before this season, and Silvis got the better of him. Huntsville guilty of icing the puck. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Caleb Cameron will be responsible for winning this offensive zone face-off in the left circle. Sumalitas pivoting with it, protects the puck brilliantly, steps into the deep slot with it and shovels it into the corner on the near side. Caleb Cameron lets it go through. Jake Trask has it. Macon's top line back out there and back together. The reason Seamer might have been out there before could have been because of an equipment issue, as it's twisted down the boards by Carter Horwitz nicely. Side of the net opportunity for Cameron. Tries to dangle his way through. He leaves it off for Trask now. Trask circles up to the slot and will just guide it off the glass down into the corner. Caleb Cameron was brought down in front of the net by Nukovic, and the arm of the official stays down. Sutliff pries the puck free off of Derek Pearl's blade. Sutliff, Cameron both fighting for it. The loose puck skitters behind the net directly, and it's picked up by Nukovic, who springs one up the middle for Piacentini. He kicks it into the far corner inadvertently. Fiala swats it away from the dangerous forward. And Zach Urban will just roll it up the boards near the player benches. It's been dumped back into the Macon zone. Urban's got it now. Zach Urban slips away from a couple of Huntsville forecheckers, Josh Bowes being one of them, who's just dumped it back behind the Huntsville, or rather the Macon net. Puck bounces dangerously up to the blue line. Nolan Kaiser snaps a shot from the line, and it was blocked, and Fiala goes into the boards on the far side with Trevor Gerling. It pops back behind the net, and Caesar is there to pick it up. Danny Caesar has cleared it. John Seamer has it now. The Mayhem on a delayed offside. Sean Lynch has to return. Seamer just swivels back with it. Josh Bowes in the F1. Fiala shovels a pass over to Nick Minerva. It lands on his tape. Sakalis up to Gerling. We get a whistle for a hand pass called against Huntsville, so the faceoff will be on their half of the ice in the neutral zone. 10:56 to go in the second period. 1-1 is your score. Macon out shooting their opposition 13-9, it appears, at the moment. I'd like to give a shout out to Ian Silvis' granddad, David, tuned in from Ithaca, New York tonight. He watches every game on SPHL Live. Appreciate your support, David. Hope you're enjoying the game, in spite of the fact that Tanner Creel's in net this evening, but even so, I'm told you will watch all the games regardless. Rob Derar, his pass land on the tape of Calabrese. Too far outside of Sharkey's reach, as Condon will have to race after it. Near his own goal line, he scoops it up. Calabrese flings it out of his own zone. This one's going to go the length, and icing call is imminent against Huntsville. Brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Anyone else who would like a shout out in tonight's game, go ahead and tweet at Macon Mayhem. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be sure to give you a shout out before this game comes to an end. Just give us your location. Let us know where you're tuned in from. Let us know who you are, and we'd be happy to give you a shout out before this game comes to an end. Also, feel free to leave a chat on the YouTube channel. I'll try to check that periodically as well. Quick shot off the offensive zone face-off. That's denied by Max Milasek. So that was a smart cover-up by Max Milasek. His team had just iced the puck, and he's given them an opportunity to change 5 players up. The Mayhem keeping the same 5 out there, and Cam Stathis and Jake Trask. Christian Powers works his way across his own blue line. Jake Trask stymies him at the red line. He will start back in. Stathis gets the pass from him. He turns. He's defended extremely tightly. He fends off a check from Brandrup, spins a pass over towards Trask, who was well covered, and Huntsville is out of the woods with it. Tyler Piacentini is closed off by Carter Horwitz, textbook defending by the rookie defenseman. He will send it up to Sumalitas, who springs one along a bit too far for Trask. Derek Pearl picks it up and will send a pass the other way, lurking behind enemy lines. It's Piacentini on a breakaway. His shot is denied by Tanner Creel, his biggest save of the game, robbing the only Huntsville goal scorer, Tyler Piacentini, of his second goal on the night. Jake Trask airmails one off the backboard. Seamer goes down, taking a tumble, and Kyle Sharkey now pinned to the wall by Derek Sutliff, but the Havoc escape with possession as Derar will feed one over to Peter Sakalis. Tanner Creel for Jake Fiala. backhands it up the boards on the near side. Seamer chisels one along. Sutliff has it on his off wing. Up to Caesar. The Mayhem offside now, or on a delayed offside at least, as Caesar was pickpocketed. He will try to dangle his way through center. He lost the puck. Sharkey leaves it. Nice pass. Salkel to his backhand. His shot is denied by Creel. Loose puck kicked along from Seamer to Caesar. And the two of them play catch a little bit behind their net. Seamer is able to get one up to Jarrett Cup. The Mayhem have cleared the danger for the time being. 8:45 to go in the second period. 1-1 your score. It's been that way the entire period thus far. Seamer puts it over, hoping for a tap in. And Sutliff was held on to. A penalty is forthcoming against Huntsville for the first time in this game. The Mayhem will go to the power play. This game is now more than halfway through, and the Havoc are just now getting their first penalty. Not only just the first power play, folks, the first penalty at all called against Huntsville, and that shouldn't surprise anyone given how well disciplined the Havoc have been this season. The best disciplined team in the league. They average fewer penalty minutes per game than anybody. Coming into this game, the Havoc averaging just 11.4 PIMs per game, which is the lowest in the SPHL, countered by Macon, who's got the third most at 15.4 per game. I'd like to give a shout out to Troy Fair, who's tuned in. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Troy, and thanks for your support. We appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the game. And no surprises here whatsoever, but we've got the Lynch family, the proud Lynch family, watching as Sean makes his professional debut tonight, having a pretty darn good debut, I'd say. Congratulations to Cassie and the Lynch family tuning in from Camillus, New York, enjoying Sean making his professional debut. The Havoc have just cleared the puck. This Mayhem power play is brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. Tanner Creel halts it behind his own net. 1-1 is your score with 8:22 to go in period 2. Mayhem's power play coming into this game clicking at 15.7%, which is 8th best in the SPHL. Not great on paper, but it's been pretty hot of late. The Havoc have just cleared it back down. Mayhem man advantage has clicked in 4 of its last games at least once. 4 of its last 5 games, I beg your pardon, at least once. Carter Horwitz leads the charge into the Huntsville zone. He will shovel it into the right corner. Alec Brandrup is surrounded by Mayhem sweaters, and Danny Caesar along the boards on the near side trying to move it one way or another. Carter Horwitz with a good reception at the right point to keep the puck in the attacking zone. Stathis Sumalitis fending off a check from Pearl. He will reverse it down to the corner on the far side. Caesar's got it. Brandrup takes him right off the puck. Rahoriak's attempted clear works. Horwitz recovers at center ice. By the way, folks, in case you were wondering why Carter Horwitz is wearing the number 3 tonight instead of his customary number 11, it's because these military appreciation jerseys, these specialty jerseys, we did not order a number 11. So number 3 it is for Carter Horwitz. It suits him just fine. So it's a little bit further away from the number he wore in college, which, if I'm not mistaken, was 14. So lots of bodies behind the Huntsville net. The Mayhem end up with it. Backdoor opportunity, and the shot was shanked from point-blank range. Dakota Kletcha had a wide-open net, and he just missed it. Sutliff chisels one back to the point. Seamer's shot is denied. Loose puck hacked out of the zone by Anthony Calabrese all the way down. And a very timely clear was just made by the Huntsville defenseman. The Havoc have just returned to full strength. The Mayhem dropping to 0 for 1 on the Wild Wing Cafe power play. Kletcha loses possession in the neutral zone. Zach Urban fires it in just wide of the net. And it's Max Milasek who will leave it for Pat Condon. Sinukovic with 6:12 to go in the second period. Both teams perfect on the PK so far tonight. 1-1 remains your score. Awkward carom off a stanchion. Huntsville could take advantage of it, but the point-blank opportunity never quite came to fruition there for Josh Bose, who sort of fanned on it. The Mayhem on the counterattack. Cameron down the slot will shoot. Missed the left post. He drew a penalty on the way through. He was hooked, or slashed rather, and Stephen Hoshaw very confident in that decision to call Pat Condon guilty of slashing. The Mayhem to back-to-back power plays here with an opportunity to pull ahead for the first time tonight. This Mayhem power play is brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. should have converted on its last opportunity. Dakota Kletcha was fed a gift by Jimmy Soper, and it was just a fast pass, and that happens sometimes. I'm sure that one might haunt him tonight in his dreams. Dakota Kletcha with a wide open net, and it just came his way a little bit too fast, and the shot as a result was just wide. Sumalitas back to the point for Trask. Horwitz, Trask above the left circle. He returns it, good saucer to Horwitz, who will feed Caleb Cameron in the right circle. Circle to circle pass, Trask put it in front, Caesar redirects it just wide of the net, and it bounces over the stick of Cameron back the other way. They bring it, Ryan Salkeld shorthanded and outnumbered. Pretty hopeless situation for him. He will just concede possession and catch a breather as Horwitz takes over behind his own net. Stathis Sumalitas makes a break for it. Horwitz puts that great speed on display, feeds in the pass, gets the return between his skates. Caesar catches up with it right side. He will swerve his way behind the net and center it out front. Fanning on the shot was Trask, rescued by Horwitz and fed down to Caesar. He is pickpocketed by Gerling, who clears it. 5 minutes remain here in period 2. The next whistle that sounds will commence our final media timeout of the second period. Carter Horwitz begins the race out from behind his own net. His pass is outside of the reach of Soper, and an icing call is made against Macon. And the rookie defenseman, Carter Horwitz, not happy with himself. It was the right idea there. He was trying to feed Jimmy Soper the pass, and if it missed him, it was still going into the offensive zone. But unfortunately, he was short of the red line when he did it. And it's just one of those plays that the more times he makes that mistake, the less likely it is to happen again. Carter Horwitz has proven to be more than serviceable defenseman at the professional level. The fact that he's already gotten this much time on the power play suggests that Coach Thomas has lots of has lots of confidence in the 24-year-old blue liner out of Endicott College. But I think that was just a minor instance of lack of experience coming into play a little bit, but the Mayhem on the power play should not be a fatal flaw, especially considering the fact that they just had a media timeout, so luck was on Horwitz's side after that icing. They were still able to get to the bench and catch a breather. I would assume Coach Thomas will still switch things up and give the second unit an opportunity for the second half of this Mayhem power play. 55 seconds of which remain on it.
All right, Mayhem fans, let's make some noise.
And the Havoc able to win an offensive zone draw in the right circle in the Macon zone. Anthony Calabrese will send one D-to-D for Peter Sakalis. Somebody Mayhem fans, if they don't hate, then they strongly dislike him, we'll say, after all he's done against the Mayhem over the years, including the last time these teams faced. Piacentini drives in. He sends it over. A hooking penalty is forthcoming against Macon. The Havoc had a good 2-on-1. Anthony Calabrese, a defenseman shorthanded, jumping in on an offensive chance. That doesn't happen much, but he saw the opportunity and he went for it and he drew a penalty. So tip your cap to number 96 in white. And the remaining time on Macon's power play has just been neutralized. 28 seconds remain on the 4-on-4, after which Huntsville will go to its third power play of this game and first of the second period. Dakota Kletcha, the culprit. Shout out to Maddie Hooks, who's in Huntsville, Alabama, tuning into the game tonight. A Havoc fan, but she loves both teams, roots for both teams, so we appreciate your neutral support tonight, Maddie Hooks. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast tonight on YouTube. Peter Sakalis scored 4 goals in 2 games the last time these teams met up a few weeks ago out in Huntsville. He would end up being the SPHL's Warrior Hockey Player of the Week for that performance. Here come the Havoc. Salkeld on his off wing, steps into the slot, loses possession. It's kicked back to the line, salvaged by Sakalis. Fiella will collect it. He shovels a pass up to Jake Trask. From his skates, he receives it onto his stick, couldn't clear it. Derar, left point, Rob Derar. Slides it across the blue line. He gets it right back from Nolan Kaiser. Derar leaves it for Anthony Calabrese. Now to Kaiser above the right circle. His shot is blocked by Fiella. It flies into the left corner. Derar will send it inside of the trapezoid. Just barely stays in play. Derar trying to catch up to it. It's spirited away from him, but held in the zone once more by Calabrese. Derar, side of the net pass. It's Gerling stepping out from the goal line with it, curling into the circle. Side of the net, backdoor opportunity. Gerling in front. Side of the net shot goes through the blue paint wide and out towards the left half wall. Kept in the zone again by Calabrese. For the third or fourth time this shift. He slap passes it down to Ryan Salkeld. Salkeld will feed it to Gerling, who wraps it back to the point. Calabrese again, left point, long slap shot that misses the left post. The Mayhem penalty killers are exhausted. Jarrett Cupp turns and clears it. And another timely defensive play made by Jarrett Cupp, who's been outstanding on the defensive side of things tonight for Ryan Michael and the Macon Mayhem. Here's Sinukovic. He will leave it for Derek Pearl. Time is dwindling on this Huntsville power play. Nick Minerva stymies Pearl nicely along the boards to kill off what's left of this Huntsville man advantage, which has been lethal this season but has struggled tonight. Thanks in large part to Macon's efforts on the PK. They're 3 for 3. That Macon penalty kill was brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. Clutch it on his off wing. Lots of support behind him. He drops it for Seamer, who flutters it into the slot behind Larry Smith, and the Huntsville Havoc get a 2-on-1 the other way. It's Shivo, right circle, shoots and scores. John Shivo, the former Macon Mayhem, able to snap one up over the shoulder of Tanner Creel to give the Havoc a 2-1 lead. He was joined by Josh Bowes on that 2-on-1. Larry Smith, with an uncharacteristically poor pinch, was caught flat-footed as the Havoc took it away and stormed back the other way on a 2-on-1. To be fair to Larry Smith, folks, that pass from Seamer is not what he wanted. It was, I think he was trying to get, I don't think he was trying to pass to Smith there. I think he was trying to go for a forward, and it sort of surprised everybody. Seamer's passes are usually on the dime. A big part of the reason he's third in the SPHL in assists this season with 34. So uncharacteristic pass and an uncharacteristic pinch by Larry Smith. But here's an opportunity for Caesar, who hammers a one-timer over the net. Good pass by Horwitz and good vision by him to find Caesar open over there. But the Havoc are right back into the Macon zone. It's Nolan Kaiser. Stood up by Zach Urban. Move by Kyle Sharkey to slip away from the muck. His shot goes off the side of the net. Pass finds Salkeld, sent up to Condon. D over to Kaiser, slap shot, doesn't get all the way through. It's Salkeld searching for it. It rolls up to Sutliff, who tries to spring one along for Dakota Kletcha. Delayed penalty upcoming against Huntsville. They slash the stick clean out of Zach Urban's hands. And the Havoc on a delayed penalty here. The whistle blows. And the Mayhem will get a third opportunity on the power play, which has looked good tonight, but it hasn't converted. Huntsville 0 for 3 on their man advantage, hoping to make sure the Mayhem go to 0 for 3 on theirs. Mayhem power play will be brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. 50.1 seconds remain in period 2. We've got Tim Salkeld tuned in, or Tim S. I assume that's Tim Salkeld, who's never missed a game when Ryan's played for the Mayhem or the Havoc. Thanks for tuning in, Tim. Trask shoots and scores from the left circle. Just like that, we've got a tie game. It's a power play goal for the Mayhem. 2-2 is your score with 44.5 to go in period 2. Cameron picks up the puck, left boards. He fakes Derar, sends it behind the net. Jake Trask's goal was a huge one for him. That's his SPHL, tied for the SPHL lead now with 22 on the campaign. He's tied Ryan Salkeld, his former teammate, in that respect. Carter Horwitz holds it in the zone, but it's been carried back out by Trask, who's got it at center ice and will feed Zach Urban now. Sumalitas turns it into the Huntsville end. Halted behind the net by Max Milasek. He sends it up to Derar. Flung off the glass and out into neutral territory. Nick Minerva's got it. Carter Horwitz, by the way, with his first point with the Mayhem, first professional point. Who got an assist on Jake Trask's goal. So we've had Huntsville pull ahead twice, we've had Macon answer twice, and we've got a 2-2 score with 2 periods having expired in this game. 40 minutes in the books, 2-2 your score, and 20 minutes remain to decide a winner. Regardless of what happens tonight, folks, it looks like the Mayhem will be clinching a playoff berth tonight. Even if they lose this game in regulation, it seems unlikely, albeit possible, that the that the Quad City Storm can pull off a victory, which they need tonight. But the Fayetteville Marksmen hold a 4-2 advantage over the Storm halfway through period 3. So there was a scoring change that Charles Olson was just announcing. The goal that Stathis Sumalitas scored back in the first period, which was originally given assists to Caleb Cameron and Jarrett Cupp, has been changed. Jake Trask got the assist, not Caleb Cameron. Jarrett Cupp got the secondary assist. So a little scoring change there. I'm glad they did that mid-game instead of waiting to submit a change into the SPHL a few days later. But 2-2 is your score, folks, through the first 2 periods. We'll talk about how we got here before we play back an interview, a Creekside interview back on Monday morning with Mayhem forward Jimmy Soper. Tyler Piacentini got the Havoc on the board early, just a minute 45 into the contest. The Mayhem looked pretty flat in the early going. Huntsville dictated the pace of play, had the majority of scoring opportunities, had the majority of time on attack, and Tyler Piacentini got the Havoc on the board 1:45 into the contest. And Stathis responded 14 minutes later, 14 minutes and 13 seconds to be exact, in his first game back with the Mayhem after missing 19 while he was in the ECHL with Florida and Norfolk. So Sumalitas returned and did exactly what exactly what he has been doing in Macon over the past few seasons, which is make life difficult for his opponents in the board battles, deliver big hits, and score big-time goals. Sumalitas getting the Mayhem on the board 15:58 into the game, tying things up heading into the first intermission. And a pretty similar situation took place, though the Mayhem were not trailing for nearly as long in the second period. They did get a late goal to give themselves some life heading into intermission time, as John Shibo on a 2-on-1 after a costly pinch by Larry Smith, and an uncharacteristically poor pass by John Seamer on the rush. Just sort of fluttered into the slot. It didn't look like that's what he wanted to do with it, and John Shivo made him pay. He was joined by Josh Bose, who's a rookie making his pro debut tonight. Had a clear passing lane to him. He trusted himself over risking the pass to Josh Bose. Yes, it would have given him, had it worked out, it would have given him his first goal, which I'll tell you this much, folks, if you're a veteran in this league, as Shivo is, to get a youngster his first goal in his first pro game and set him up with a nice pass, there's not a whole lot of things that are better feeling than that. So I'm sure it was tempting for him to pass on that 2-on-1, but he trusted his veteran self to be able to pull off that shot over Creel's shoulder, and he beat the Macon netminder clean to give the Havoc a 2-1 lead. But this time the Mayhem had an immediate response. Just a minute and 11 seconds after Shivo put the Havoc back in front, Jake Trask ripped a shot over the glove of Max Milasek, his former teammate, on a Wild Wing Cafe power play, which, by the way, has improved to 1 for 3 on the evening and has now converted in 5 of its last 6 games. Trask with a huge goal, not just to ignite the power play, which has looked pretty good tonight, but also to tie his former teammate, Ryan Salkeld, in goals scored. The two of them tied for the league lead. Nobody else is in that discussion. Josh Harris is one goal away from tying Trask and Salkeld, who each have 22, though Trask's done it in fewer games played, so I'd say the tiebreaker goes to him. Huge goal scored by Trask on the power play. Just, well, let's see, that was 6 seconds after Ryan Salkeld, ironically, was the one penalized for slashing. And because of that, his greatest competition for the SPHL's goal-scoring title ended up making him pay for it. So 2-2 is your score through the first 40 minutes of play. Hope you've enjoyed the game up till this point, folks, and it seems like you've enjoyed the broadcast up till now as well, getting a lot of positive feedback on YouTube and Twitter. So to those of you tuned in from both sides this evening, we're thankful to have you with us. We hope you're enjoying your Friday night. It's been a fun one at the Macon Centreplex so far, and it's far from over. 2-2 your score through the first two-thirds of this contest. The next thing we will play your way on this Mayhem broadcast in the intermission will be the the Monday morning interview with Mayhem forward Jimmy Soper. That and more coming your way next on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Yes, Alex, I'm recording. Would you stop? 100.9 The Creek Row Music Row Radio. Tony Newland, Charles Davis.
He just wants to make sure.
Alex Von Keudel from the Macon Mayhem is here. Yeah, I'm recording, man.
It's so fitting when you say my name like that now because you're actually angry at me.
I'm actually angry.
So it works.
Why are you throwing stuff? Stop throwing
it's
things.
like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, hey, by the way, Alex, I'm recording, by the way.
You'd already
I
mentioned
finally
it.
learned that every time Alex comes in, I need to record this segment.
Yes, it only took him 85% of the season.
So what does he do just before I crack the mic? Are you recording?
Hey, it's a thing. It's a thing, okay?
It's Monday, man. Why do you do this?
Let the man do his thing.
That's exactly why I do it.
Good morning, Alex Von Keudel. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's your official title?
Director.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Oh,
So,
the disrespect.
I know. Let's talk about a few things. Number one, we were talking off air about the Coach Leo Thomas Coaches Show line change downstairs at the Creek Stage Tuesday nights, 6:30. Get there early. Get your food and beverage.
Yeah.
You guys were packed up last week.
We were. It was great. It was amazing. It was coming off a 2-game sweep over Fayetteville, and we had a new guy come in who played really well.
Is it Keplinger or Keplinger?
Keplinger. I made that mistake. Yeah, and we had Larry Smith and Coach Thomas, of course, and it was a great show. The whole area by the Creek Stage was packed, so it was awesome.
I didn't get to stop by Tuesday night, but were there like photo ops afterwards? All the kids coming up taking pictures and
Oh yeah,
Snapchat.
Even the news came by. WGXA came by. Yep, people had great questions.
nice.
Great food, great company.
So we're looking for that same thing this Tuesday.
Exactly.
Tuesday night at the Creek Stage. Come out for the Coach Leo Thomas Coaches Show. And if you haven't met the coach, for the love of God, come out and meet
Oh,
the
come
coach.
on out here, meet Leo.
He's a great guy.
Good dude, man.
He's a great guy. Meet Coach Leo. So we got 2 games this week, Alex.
That's correct.
These are big ones, Friday and Saturday night. Military Appreciation Night.
Yep.
Any spoiler on the special jersey?
No.
Can you confirm or deny that it is camo?
No.
Like military camo? No?
Well, I'll deny it. Actually.
Okay, all right, that's
we,
okay.
we had a camo night, so it's
No, we've
Okay,
already done that. But
okay.
that was outdoor
Outdoor
camo.
camo. We're talking
not
about different
military
camo.
camo.
Yeah, different camo.
It's not camo. I'll
Okay,
say, I'll
all
say,
right.
I'll
Well,
say
then we
that.
do know
Okay.
that. We know that then. Okay.
But there will be a jersey auction Saturday night.
That's correct.
After
It's
the
a
game.
sailor's shirt is what it is. Got the little ties around the top.
Little tie around it, yeah.
the front.
The Macon midshipman.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done, Alex.
That was good.
He brought his own jokes this morning, Jimmy.
Yeah, clearly.
In case you didn't notice that.
Clearly.
He brought his own jokes. Alex, introduce the guest you brought with you.
This is Jimmy Soper. He's in my opinion, he's one of our most fun players to watch, and from a broadcasting perspective, he's a lot of fun to call. He does it all. He's a really good 200-foot player, and he throws hits around like it's nobody's business. So
Right. We likes that.
Jimmy, tell us about you. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How
gotta
are
follow
you?
that one up.
I'm good. How old are you?
I'm 23 years
I
old.
hate you.
He's bitter about that, Jim.
I'm
I told
angry
you
about
He's
that.
bitter about
I
that.
really am. So tell me about growing up. Where are you from?
from Waterloo, Ontario, about an hour south of Toronto.
Okay.
Really, I would have never guessed from the accent.
Wow.
Yeah.
I took 2 years of conversational Canadian in college.
By the way, I mean, didn't do well in the
to say
class.
about an A.
That's all.
That's all you gotta have.
He skipped the rest of it.
When'd you start playing, man?
Well, my dad put me in skates as soon as I could walk, so
Nice.
I bet you I was playing by about 4.
Okay.
Where'd you play your high school, and then you didn't go to college? You went straight into the pros.
Yeah, I played junior in my hometown, Waterloo and Kitchener, for 2 years, and then I played out in Halifax, Nova Scotia, for 2 years.
Where was that again?
Halifax, Nova Scotia.
I just want to hear you
Nova
say
Scotia.
it. Not you, Charles. I want to hear him say it.
Okay, you know, just because I can't, never mind. Just go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Go
played
ahead,
there
Jimmy.
for 2 years, and then I actually attended 1 year of school. Hated the school part. Wasn't enough hockey, and then started the pros.
Too much school, not
No,
enough hockey.
we talked about that. No, you went
Ring
to
bell on that.
You got to go to a league that was pretty much like I don't want to call it amateurs because you weren't amateurs, but it was like minor league hockey
But
kind
you
of.
had to waive your college eligibility to go to that league, right?
Yeah, so what it is you just can't go to school in the States. It allows you to go to school in Canada, and then it's paid for by that league. But you only play 26 games 3 months of the year, so it's
It's a real abbreviated season.
it's not real fun that way.
I bet.
Yeah.
Not a lot
So,
of cover time.
how do you end up in Macon?
I got a call from Coach Leo, and haven't looked back since.
Well, when he called you, now you come on through. You know,
Yeah.
talk about the kind of guy that Leo is and the kind of coach that he is for this team.
Well, Leo is a hard-nosed hockey player, and I think he brings that to the coaching, and with his effort and stuff put in, it makes you want to put that effort in back for him.
I heard Leo likes a lot of hip hop. Does he play a lot of hip hop in the locker room?
I haven't heard Leo's music yet, but
Well, just wait. Just
I'll be
wait.
waiting for the day.
It's a little rough.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm taller than Coach Leo. He scares me. He intimidates the hell out of me.
Oh, when he looks
Glad
at
he
you,
likes me.
Yeah, when
I'm
he looks
glad
at
he
you, he
likes
mean it. He means exactly what he says.
No, he's a straightforward coach. He's got to be a lot of fun to play for.
Yeah, he is a lot of fun to play for, but I can see how he scares you. He's not really a guy you want to piss off.
No. Good on that.
What's your favorite part of playing, man? I mean, you've done this all your life.
Is it the hits? Is it knocking somebody to the ice?
There is a great feeling knocking someone to the ice.
I mean, just a good, solid,
just putting them through the glass.
the best hit you've ever had in your that you've had so far. What's the best hit that you can remember?
I don't know. I'd probably go back to last game.
Oh, really? Okay, then. All right.
It'd be the last game, but he's looking forward to this weekend.
Looking to add some on that. Yeah. No, that's awesome.
So sometimes I ask this question, sometimes I don't, but I'm going to ask you. Favorite hockey movie? You have a choice of 3.
Okay.
Miracle, Slapshot, or Goon?
Miracle.
Everybody always takes the
Hands down.
positive story.
Because
Canadian to pick Miracle. It's interesting.
what is that interesting?
Hey,
The
that's
Canadian guy.
It's my favorite too, so I'm with you. I'm with you, Jimmy.
See, I'm a total Goon guy.
He's a good guy.
I'm a total Goon guy.
That's my second favorite.
And why the Mighty Ducks are not on this list, I don't understand. But that's just
Because
me.
it's not one of the greatest hockey movies of all time.
Yes, it is.
It'd be number 4.
Emilio Estevez puts on a great.
Jimmy, where does it rank? Where does Mighty Ducks rank?
I don't know if I
In the
put it
top
as high
3?
as 4.
See? You forgot about Goon too.
Jimmy, I was gonna get you a T-shirt and some coffee once this was done, but guess what? You ain't getting
I'm gonna
nothing.
get you a T-shirt, Jimmy. Don't worry about it.
Hurt
So
my feelings.
this Friday and Saturday, Macon Mayhem on the ice. It is Military Appreciation Night, taking on Huntsville 7:35 puck drop each night at the Centreplex, and of course, line change. Coach Leo Thomas coaches
right.
show tomorrow night. Jimmy, thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate it,
appreciate
Jimmy.
you getting up early.
Discounted
thanks for
tickets for
having me.
military personnel. By the
Yeah,
way.
y'all come on out for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, definitely do that. Where can they get tickets, Alex?
You can visit the Mayhem website, maconmayhem.com, or just swing by the box office the day of the game.
All right, there we go. Here's one for you, Jimmy. It's Troublemaker is the name of this song. Looking forward to this weekend. It's Vandaliers on the Creek.
So in the Birmingham game, there was a time in which Seymour drew a hooking call, and we got Silvas to the bench and had a 6-on-5 for a second, and then the whistle blew. And I was curious because it looked like they were trying to whistle for an offside, but it wasn't really clear, and it looked like they came over and talked to you. Is that what?
I can't even remember this right now.
I remember actually. We had full possession, 6-on-5, and we had control of the puck, and the refs blew the whistle for some reason, and I didn't even know it was offsides at the time, and then
outdoors guy, as I understand it. You've got well-positioned everyone is here. It's almost easier to come in from a different level and make the adjustment. So Larry, you're a big outdoors guy, as I understand it. You've got outdoorsy kind of tattoos. Your teammates call you Big Country in the locker room. And you were injured on camo night of all nights, which must have been devastating.
I was pretty excited for that.
Especially with your parents coming down and everything like that. But you did tell me that you were even more excited to play for your country, and with Military Appreciation Weekend coming up on Friday and Saturday of next weekend. Is that something that excites you even more than camo night?
Oh yeah, they're both awesome nights. The more support, the better. Because I mean, we get to play because of those guys and those women, and so it's just nice to give back as much as we can.
Absolutely. And those jerseys have been completed, folks. We'll probably post them on Mayhem social media at some point next week, the Military Appreciation Weekend jerseys. They're looking really nice. We're looking forward to sharing those with you. That's all the questions I have for Coach Thomas, Josh, and Larry. At this time, I'm going to open the floor for discussion. Any folks out there with questions, comments, concerns, complaints, we'd love to hear them. The floor is yours. Yes, sir.
Do you have any brothers?
I do. I have a younger brother. He's 16. He's actually playing right now.
4 years.
But yeah, he's a little ways away. But yeah, he's got some growing up to do. But maybe he'll be in a Mayhem sweater eventually.
You know what? This was poorly planned, but to get all the way to the back. All right. The only thing I'm going to ask for questions going forward is that you just come up and from this gentleman here, he's got the mic. Just be sure to ask your questions in the mic. Anything else? Thank you for your question. Appreciate it. Should be. You can go ahead.
So I got a question for Larry.
Yes, sir.
Are you looking for a nickname now, like Bam Bam or something like that?
I actually like that one. Yeah.
Bam Bam.
We'll see if we can make that one stick.
The guys in the locker room like to call him Schmitty. So I know Schmitty's kind of a little nickname, Lair.
It's kind of normal. I'm thinking Bam Bam after
Bam Bam. Big Country's a new one too. Never had that one before. So
I like that one. I don't want that one to go anywhere.
Wow.
Hi, so my question is for Josh. You've had kind of an interesting journey here, going from being a captain in your senior season, playing all 4 years there, to all the way down here where you don't know anyone in the locker room, you're the new guy again. And what has that experience kind of been like, and how has that kind of impacted, the short time you've been here with us?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's definitely an adjustment going from a situation where you're responsible for leading the team and kind of steering the ship in the right direction. And then down here, my role was to just come in and try to produce offensively and, get used to my line mates and be a high energy guy and not as much of a leader. I still think I can bring some of the leadership qualities I learned at school from my senior year to here, and I think that could only help us. But yeah, my role here is a little bit different than there, so it has been a little adjustment. So.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Well, we hope you enjoyed that intermission interview with the Mayhem forward Jimmy Soper, followed by a little peek into our last week's episode of Line Change. That was Season 1, Episode 4. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Season 1, Episode 5 to archive. There was a technical issue there. We had Caleb Cameron, Derek Sutliff on the show. Of course, Coach Thomas was there as well, and that show went great as well. It's just been getting better and better. We've got more and more fans attending each week, it seems like, especially episodes 4 and 5. I mean, that whole area of the Rookery by the Creek stage has been packed the last couple of weeks, and we hope to keep that momentum going. Fans who are coming by are asking great questions. They're getting engaged. Players are they're getting free meals out of it. They're getting the chance to interact with fans. And it's just a slam dunk for everybody involved. The Rookery is getting more patronage, so it's been outstanding. Line Change with Coach Thomas every Tuesday night Coaches Show at 6:30 p.m. At the Creek Stage at the Rookery, 543 Cherry Street in downtown Macon, for those of you interested in attending. If you can't make it, we'll have each archived show on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Macon Mayhem. In the meantime, period 3 is back underway at the Macon Centreplex, as Salkeld will flutter a pass ahead, and Derar tried to give it over for Sharkey. It was interrupted, kept in at the point, however, by Sakalis. Blocked by Cameron was his shot. Sumalides gets Cam's pass. He will hold on to it and shoot. It's stopped by Milasek, and no further play. That was a good pass, good heads-up pass by Caleb Cameron near his own bench. Quickly, I'd like to give a shout-out to Debbie Miner, who's tuned in watching Danny Caesar on SPHL Live from Tennessee, cheering him on. Appreciate your support, Debbie. Thanks for reaching out to us. Danny Caesar's had a pretty strong debut for the Mayhem thus far, as Sumalides shovels a hard backhand shot from the half wall. That's gloved by Max Milasek. Thanks for requesting the shout-outs, folks. Anyone else who would like one before this game comes to an end, you can just comment on our YouTube stream, or you can send us a tweet. Just be sure to tag us at Macon Mayhem, and we'll get you a shout-out before this game comes to an end. Anthony Calabrese through the neutral zone. He will gain the Macon blue line and drop it off. Touch pass into the slot. Piacentini's shot is denied by Tanner Creel. Another good opportunity for Piacentini, who's had a breakaway, a goal, and a point-blank opportunity from that nice pass from the left point. Here's Seymour behind the defense. He shoots, stopped by Milasek. John Seymour with his best opportunity to score in this game. Looks to be in some discomfort. Back-to-back big saves made first by Creel and then by Milasek. First on Piacentini and then on John Seymour. There will be an offensive zone face-off that takes place in the left circle in the Huntsville zone. One by Soper, fired wide of the net by Dakota Kletcha. And Jake Fayella retrieves possession nicely. It's flung up to the left point. Jarrett Cup with a wrist shot that's blocked. Deflects over to Kletcha, who will spin it behind the net. Soper twists it out in front, jeered aside by Derek Pearl alertly, and ultimately redirected by John Shivo. Jake Fayella will pursue it in his own zone. He halts behind his own cage. Fayella reverses it now to Jarrett Cup. Cup's pass lands on the tape of Dakota Kletcha. Lynch holds the line nicely as the Mayhem are onside. Lynch will try to roll it back to Jarrett Cup, but it never reaches him, courtesy of Trevor Gerling, who sends it ahead. Here's Bose closing in, shooting. He takes out, he takes out Tanner Creel. Looked like he might have drawn a penalty on the way through. He tried to pull the string there, and Josh Bose making his professional debut with a pseudo breakaway, and a penalty is going to be called. Perhaps it's against Huntsville. So they had the puck, and a charging penalty is called. So I beg your pardon, Josh Bose was not hooked on the way through. He's being penalized for charging Tanner Creel's net. And I'm not sure about that one, folks. It looked like he was just trying to drive. He had the puck on his stick. I always kind of second-guess charging calls when the player has the puck on his stick. Now, if he's breaking towards the front of the net hoping to receive a pass, that's different. But if you have the puck, all you're trying to think about is scoring. You're not trying to think about how you're going to ramsack the goalie. But nevertheless, you have to make every effort you can to avoid contact with the opposing netminder. And Stephen Hoshaw believes that Josh Bose did not do that. So the Mayhem going back to the Wild Wing Cafe power play for the fourth time tonight. They converted on their last opportunity. The touch pass from Cup ends up being taken by Sumalides, fed up to the blue line. Horwitz now to Cameron on the far side. Not Cup, rather. It was Cameron. And now it's collected by Sumalides, fed up to the top of the left circle for Jake Trask. Trask will buy some time as he will set up Sumalides, now up to the blue line. Horwitz a long wrist shot. Getting a piece of that was Max Milasek. Horwitz and Trask and Sumalides all hugging the left boards, trying to keep the puck alive. Trask wins possession. Piacentini spears it past Horwitz and turns on the afterburners. He's got a step. Piacentini drives, passes it off. Sprawling was Creel, but the shot missed the net. Piacentini gets it back and will draw a penalty as he goes down, and will go to the 4-on-4. What a game Tyler Piacentini's having, undoubtedly Huntsville's MVP so far tonight. And Caleb Cameron gives him a shove. He thinks he went down a little bit easily there, and Sinukovic comes in to stand up for the little guy. Jake Trask wasn't happy with Piacentini's antics either. He did go down a little easily, but part of the game is drawing penalties, and he did that. Again, the Mayhem power play has been neutralized. Danny Caesar to the penalty box. Both teams, by the end of this Huntsville power play, will have gotten 4 opportunities on the man advantage. Huntsville's power play has been killed off every time by Macon's PK. A minute 10 remains on this 4-on-4. Snapshot from the left circle, squeaks through Tanner Creel's 5-hole, and Tanner Creel looks mortified after that one. That was just a wrist shot right off the draw by Derek Pearl that just trickled through Tanner Creel's 5-hole and rolled into the net. Not a great goal to give up. The Mayhem find themselves trailing again. It's 3-2 Huntsville. Here comes Gerling up the middle. He's defended by both Fiala and Cup. Sent up to the blue line again. Pearl with a shot that ricochets wide and into the corner. Seamer swats it in behind his own net. Larry Smith, or rather Jarrett Cup on the far side. Now Jake Fiala to John Seamer. Back to Fiala again. Seamer sustains a check by Gerling. Fiala's pass reaches Jarrett Cup, who's on the right wing side. He spins it in front, hoping for Seamer. Opportunity for Sutliff, who hacks it wide of the left post. John Seamer's got it now. He will twist it down towards Carter Horwitz. Up to the blue line for Jarrett Cup, who mishandles it there. He will recover out to the neutral zone. Josh Bowes is standing in the Mayhem is Everywhere All-State Bonding penalty box. He's let out of the sin bin, and the Havoc have returned to full strength. They're going to the power play for the 4th time tonight. They're 0 for 3 thus far. Anthony Calabrese has it behind his own net with 40 seconds remaining on his power play. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. Sinukovic, extremely dangerous in open ice. Kaiser sends it off the corner glass. It rattles behind the cage. Nukovic will spear it one to the top. Calabrese sends it D-to-D. Nolan Kaiser, deep slot, 50-plus feet out, unleashes the wrist shot that misses the net. Turned over in front of the net. Salkeld wires it wide to the left post. Calabrese couldn't settle down that bouncing puck as it skitters back across the blue line. Recovered by Kaiser. Time winds down on Huntsville's power play as Kaiser gains the blue line. Offside, just barely, was Steven Rahoriak as the whistle blows. 3 seconds remain on the penalty called against Danny Caesar. It was drawn by Tyler Piacentini moments ago. There'll be a neutral zone draw that takes place in front of the Macon bench. Danny Caesar getting ready to rejoin his team. He is let out of the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box. Salkeld feeds it to his left, bounces off the stick of Derar, rolls back to Condon. D-to-D pass for Brandrup. His wrist shot is blocked by Caesar. Danny Caesar up to Jarrett Cup. Cup will hoist one in the vicinity of John Seamer. He races after it, gets to it first before Condon could, sends it in front, and it's covered by Max Milasek with his glove. 15:05 to play in the second period. The next whistle after this one will be our media timeout, our first media timeout of period 3. Danny Caesar scoops up the loose puck from the left circle. He couldn't find a way to get the pass to Derek Sutliff. And the puck was played by a high stick, and Stephen Hoshaw's got his hands up. And here's our first media timeout of period 3. 3-2 Havoc is your score. It was Derek Pearl getting the Havoc on the board not long ago with a wrist shot on the 4-on-4 from above the left circle that squeaked through Tanner Creel's 5-hole. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group package. Whether you're a school, a church, a company, or just a group of friends, give the Mayhem office a call and we'll set you up with an incredible group deal. From $13 tickets to free team hats to a unique experience upgrade of your choosing, the Mayhem have got you and your group covered. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today.
Lots of Endicott goals watching this game. No surprise there. Ryan Lisk and a lot of his teammates tuned in, watching a couple of their former teammates dueling it out here. Carter Horwitz of the Macon Mayhem and Josh Bowes of the Huntsville Havoc. Teammates for the past 4 years at Endicott College, now squaring off against one another for the first time tonight. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, and supporting your old teammates. Josh Bowes making his professional debut this evening, and Carter Horwitz playing in his third game with the Mayhem. Salkeld sends one to the top of the left circle. Derar into the slot. Wrist shot by Calabrese is blocked. About 8 sweaters standing in front of, standing between the goal and Calabrese when he pulled the trigger. Sharkey sends it to Derar behind the net. It's outside of the reach of Caesar. He is neutralized by Salkeld. Loose puck speared towards the front of the net, rescued by Derar, fed up to the point. One-timer by Sikalis is turned aside by Creel with the right pad. Now Sutliff will start it down the right wing side. He is checked, lost the puck, but will get back on it. And sends it behind the net. John Seamer twisted in front, steered aside by Max Milasek. Seamer holds it near the line nicely. The pass from Trask is outside of his reach. He will send it to Trask, who fires. It was blocked by Derar, and it ricochets off the left half wall. It's been cleared all the way down. Larry Smith battling for it against Trevor Gerling, who fires it off the half wall. Held in the zone by Shibo. Gerling blocking the clearing attempt, and it's picked up by Caleb Cameron. Nick Minerva gives it up to Cameron. He redirects it from the red line into the Huntsville zone. Alec Brandrup's got it. His pass chips off the blade of Jarrett Cup. Tanner Creel sends it out into the neutral zone. It's hammered in by Derek Pearl. Jarrett Cup with a loose touch recovers nicely to break up a possible opportunity for Gerling there. Sumilidis sends it the width of the ice. It caroms off the half wall on the far side. It's not been a strong period thus far for the Mayhem. 13 minutes remain in it, and they trail 3-2. It's the third time they've gone down in this game. The first 2 times they were able to tie the score back up. Sumilidis, left wing side. He's dispossessed of it. Piacentini will commence the counterattack. Rahoriak negotiates his way over the blue line, leaves it off for Nukovic. Nukovic angles it off the corner boards on the far side of the ice. Jarrett Cup from his backhand turns it over. Nukovic, good pass, side of the net, redirected wide of the left post. And Lynch couldn't quite clear it. He will charge the right point. Kaiser sends it D-to-D. Piacentini couldn't quite soccer that puck onto his stick, and Lynch will skate it out of harm's way. Down the left wing side, he will bring it, sends it into Huntsville territory. It's been cleared over Lynch's stick into the neutral zone, and from the red line, Carter Horwitz will rattle it back in. Max Milasek twists it out to the far half boards. Tyler Piacentini shovels it out into the neutral zone. Rob Derar, the ex-Reading Royal, just deposits it behind the Macon cage. Long clearing attempt is nullified by Anthony Calabrese. He floats one over the blue line. Huntsville is onside. Sharkey's shot misses the left post. It's Sikalis fluttering one over the cage, and it stays in play as it rattles back out into the neutral zone. Calabrese is met by Caesar, who springs it free. Sutliff gave it over. Seamer from the side. He will send it to Caesar, whose shot is stopped by Milasek. And puck skated out of harm's way now by Kyle Sharkey. Fed up to Salkeld. His pass flutters behind Sikalis. He's able to recover and send it off the left corner boards. Caesar takes a check. Loose puck rolls into the slot. Sutliff has it. Seamer makes a break for it. Caesar with a nice move from the outside to the inside, but he lost the puck. It's turned at the net by Minerva and dealt aside by Max Milasek. Big collision delivered by Stathis Sumilidis on Alec Brandrup. The Mayhem caught on an offside. That big body check delivered by Sumilidis has been brought to you by Harrison's Body Shop Collision and Repair. And no surprise here, Stathis Sumilidis is right in the mix of that fray, right smack in the middle of it. And he's being separated now by the linesman. Not only have we seen a few big hits, we've seen a lot of this from Stathis in his first game back, and that's exactly what the Mayhem want to see. They don't want to see him taking thoughtless penalties, but they do want to see him standing up for himself and for his teammates and getting invested and getting into it, and that's exactly what he's done tonight. That fire has not gone away. In fact, it seems like it's amplified in the short time since he's been back. So 3-2 Huntsville is your score with 10:57 remaining in the second period. The third period. The midway point of the closing stanza slowly creeping up as Cup will fire from the outer hash marks of the left circle, and the save is made by Milasek, who gives a little shove to Sumilidis. He's drawn the attention of everybody tonight, folks. He's surrounded by Huntsville sweaters. That was all prompted by a cheap shot, really, by Max Milasek, who just threw out a jab at Sumilidis. All he was doing was passing by. Now Caleb Cameron, it looks like, throwing a few haymakers. Everyone's got a dance partner now. Alec Brandrup and Caleb Cameron look like they want to go. But Venance Lorenz is saying otherwise. And Max Milasek really just kind of sucker punched Stathis Sumilidis, and that's what sparked this whole debacle. Well, I think it's pretty obvious Sumilidis has gotten into their heads. And he and Cameron are going to skate to the penalty box. So will Alec Brandrup. Tanner Creel starts skating out to center ice. This is far from over, folks, and the officials have got to get this under control. This may get ugly. I think Tanner Creel might want to have a go at Max Milasek. The Mayhem have not witnessed a goalie fight all season. But there's a chance this might be the first one. So it looks like the tempers have finally diffused a little bit, and I'm very interested to see what the penalties handed down will consist of. At the very least, there are going to be two players from each side in the sin bin. Alec Brandrup and Trevor Gerling for Huntsville. Stathis Sumilidis and Caleb Cameron for Macon. Sumilidis has not stopped yapping since he's gone into the penalty box. He's been shouting across the timekeeper's table, and some of the Mayhem off-ice officials who are in the timekeeper's square or box, they're trying to tell Stathis to calm down. He is trying to yell across two panes of glass right now at Gerling and Brandrup. And Derek Pearl has skated over to the Huntsville sin bin as well, but that was just because of a glove. One of the Mayhem players was missing his glove. Pearl delivering it. He thought it was one of his guys' gloves.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. We have a logo presented to David in the stands to announce the winner tonight.
So 10:48 to go in the second period. The Mayhem still trailing 3-2, despite outshooting Huntsville 23-15 in this contest. We're nearing the halfway point of period 3. It says period 2 up on the scoreboard. Looks like one of those lights is out, and that might be why I've said period 2 a few times when it's really the third period. Make no mistake, folks. 10:48 to play in this third period. 3-2 Huntsville, your score. And the last goal coming off the stick of Derek Pearl, the only one to come in this third period thus far. Pearl's 7th on the season. has just tied Peter Sakalis with that goal for second on the Havoc in scoring by a defenseman, trailing only Alec Brandrup, who's got 26 points on the campaign. Coming into this game, he had been the only Huntsville player to score a goal at the Macon Centreplex this season, because there had only been one game here up till now. Back on January 25th, Brandrup got the lone Huntsville goal. Cy Nukovic and John Seamer at center ice now, awaiting the decision from Stephen Hoshaw. Again, there are two players in the box from either side. I would think that somebody's going to have to serve a penalty for Max Milasek. Now, that might be Trevor Gerling, that might be Alec Brandrup. I saw Brandrup and Cameron in a completely unrelated altercation, it looked like. I mean, yeah, it was all started because of the shove from Milasek, but I would think Brandrup and Cameron are serving something separate than that, and maybe Gerling is serving the penalty for Milasek, but make no mistake, folks, Milasek is the reason that whole scrum ensued. Sort of an unprovoked little jab at Stathis Sumalitis, and I can't be sure because I'm not down there. Maybe Stathis said something, but he definitely didn't touch him, and Milasek just shoved him. And that's all it took. Everyone's on a pretty short fuse right now, folks. So after all that, it looks like we'll head to a 4-on-4, if I'm not mistaken. Jake Trask and Nolan Kaiser now discussing with Stephen Hoshaw what is to come. The different alternate captains from both sides. So we're going to listen to Charles Olson. So after all that, it's actually going to be Macon who goes to the penalty box, which seems odd considering it was Max Milasek who started the whole thing, and he gets off the hook scot-free. But Huntsville will go to its fifth power play of this game. They've not clicked yet. They're 0 for 4 on the night. It's fed D to Nolan Kaiser from Anthony Calabrese. Rather, that was Salkeld in the far circle. Kaiser will return it. Derar, circle-to-circle pass. Salkeld up to the point. Kaiser, slap pass, and a one-timer from Derar scores. Excellent movement from Kaiser to Salkeld to Derar, who hammers it into the back of the net, and an extremely questionable call comes back to haunt the Mayhem. It's 4-2 Huntsville. I think it goes without saying what the fans think of that last call. 10.5 yet to be played in the third period. Huntsville given a gift. Now lead 4-2. And not to discredit Rob Derar in the slightest, because that was one incredible shot, and that's what he's best at, and those one-timers from the right circle. While he was in Reading for the past month, the Havoc certainly missed him. He wasn't able to contribute while in Reading, and I think Glenn DeTulio was thrilled to welcome him back with open arms. He's been lethal against the Mayhem this season. He's now got 6 points, 2 goals and 4 assists in just 4 games played against Macon. As Danny Caesar will send it around the boards on the far side. Derek Sutliff shovels a pass up. Danny Caesar enters the zone on the left side. He pulls up, sends it across, hoping for Sutliff. It redirects out of play. Derar on the back check, able to knock it out. That flying puck brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. We're in a 9:40 yet to be played left in the second period, or excuse me, the third period. It still says second period on the scoreboard, but the Havoc have pulled ahead now for the first time tonight. Have an insurance lead. It's 4-2 in favor of Huntsville. We're going to take a quick break here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. We'll be back in a moment, folks.
Need to raise some money for your organization? Contact the Mayhem front office and we'll be happy to partner up with your group to help you fundraise for a cause. You buy tickets from us at $10, you sell them for $15, and then you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whatever cause you like. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to set up a fundraiser for your organization today.
All right, so the Mayhem trying to erase what's become a 2-goal deficit for the first time tonight. Jimmy Soper in an offensive zone face-off entanglement couldn't secure possession for the Mayhem, and it's been dumped in behind Tanner Creel's net. He will slow it down and rim it around to Jake Trask. It's been cleared ahead for Jimmy Soper, who's joined by Dakota Kletcha. Soper will just send it into the left corner. Kletcha goes after it, wrapped up by Condon. Loose puck out in front. Jake Trask tried to tuck it in. It's denied by Milasek with the outstretched left pad. Play continues. Jake Fayella had it swatted away, and it's been chiseled out. Jarrett Cupp, the lone defenseman, back. Fayella trying to even the odds here. Excellent back check by the ex-Greenville Swamp Rabbit, and it's fed now behind the cage inside of the trapezoid. It's Salkeld. Fends off a check from Jarrett Cupp. Cupp takes it away from Salkeld and backhands a pass up to Dakota Kletcha. Kletcha on the right wing side. He will, from the red line, send it into Huntsville territory. It's cut off by Condon and slapped over to Nolan Kaiser. Kaiser flutters it towards the Macon blue line, swats up in the air. Larry Smith backpedals now and flings one ahead. Trying to catch Sutliff behind the defense. He will redirect it into the left corner and send one along the end wall over to Seamer on the right half wall. His shot is steered aside by Max Milasek. Larry Smith skillfully keeps the puck in the attacking zone, but won't be able to do so for much longer as the Havoc have just cleared it. Josh Bose in over the blue line. Shivo's shot flutters off a stanchion behind Tanner Creel's net. Now it's Larry Smith. Slips one in front of his own cage. Shivo puts it in front to the forehand. Opportunity there for Bose, and he misfired. He sent it sky high over the crossbar. Tanner Creel didn't even have to make a save. Nolan Kaiser, Huntsville's alternate captain, giving the rookie a little bump of encouragement, tapping his helmet, telling him to keep his head up. Josh Bose had an opportunity to put this game out of reach, point blank, uncontested in front of Tanner Creel. Making his professional debut tonight, he's had a few opportunities, Josh Bose. Macon to another defensive zone face-off. Tyler Piacentini is countered by Caleb Cameron. It's wedged up the wall on the far boards, and Sumalides couldn't receive that pass from Trask because it was behind him. We get an offside whistle blown by Dan Huntington, the linesman. 7:56 to go in the third. 4-2, Huntsville is your score. Huntsville's received contributions from 4 different players tonight. First by Tyler Piacentini, way back in the first period, and then by John Shivo in the second, Derek Pearl along with Rob Derar in the third. We've got some pushes and shoves taking place near the glass. The hostilities in this game are just not ceasing whatsoever. Just gotten worse and worse as the game has gone along. Just sheer anarchy on the ice right now, folks, and Stathis Sumalides just brought Anthony Calabrese down. I think he wants to fight him. He might be going back to the box again, Stathis. Now we've still got another game tomorrow night. though it hasn't been the case normally for the Mayhem. Usually what happens is the first game's not quite as hostile because these teams haven't seen each other for a few weeks, but tomorrow they'll be at the tail end of a back-to-back series in which they're going to be a little bit more sick of seeing each other. So this has the potential to get a lot worse tomorrow night, though it was sort of an anomaly 2 weeks ago, and the Mayhem hosted Fayetteville. There were 96 penalty minutes on that Friday, and the Saturday was a pretty cool-tempered game by comparison. Sumalitas still receiving punches left and right from Anthony Calabrese. Zach Urban is being sent down the tunnel. Looks like his night is over. Now we see Huntsville's trainer looking into the ice, seeing if there's probably seeing if there's blood, if there's teeth down there near the blue line. Kyle Sharkey's down there with him. Sharkey went down and he's being looked at by the Huntsville trainer. Now he's being escorted back to the Huntsville locker room. And Sumalitas has gone down the tunnel as well. We knew this was going to be a wild one tonight, folks. Yeah, it's the first game of a series, but it's Military Appreciation Weekend, specialty jerseys. Pretty bitter rivalry between two teams who have just won the President's Cup in the last 2 seasons. Macon 2 years ago, Huntsville last year. And that rivalry extends even longer than that. So, you know, you've got those factors. You've got the fact that the Mayhem have a lot of players right now vying for roster spots. There were, you know, Alexander Tallien returned from suspension. 2 players brought in on amateur tryouts. 2 players coming back down from the ECHL and 1 player coming in from a trade. So there's been so much roster movement and turnover that everyone right now feels like they need to prove themselves, and everyone's been on a short fuse tonight, that's for sure. Still plenty of time remaining for the Mayhem to mount a comeback, but they're losing a lot of their players who could help them do that. Zach Urban and Stathis Sumalitas, a couple of leaders, will not be available to the Mayhem for the rest of this game, and perhaps longer than that. The worst thing that could happen is for the Mayhem to get Stathis back, for him to score a goal in this game and play a pretty good first game back after missing 19 straight while in the ECHL. The worst thing that could happen is for him to get himself suspended. And boy, oh boy, I'm not even sure how many penalty minutes he's got tonight, but he's easily in the double digits. You might be able to take a look and see the exact number. As of right now, it's only showing 4. We know it's a lot more than that after he was sent down the tunnel. 2 minor penalties, one of which was for unsportsmanlike conduct and one of which was for boarding. And he hasn't been charged with an official fight yet in this game, but he's certainly gotten into at least 3 or 4 pseudo fights. I'm guessing he and Urban will have been given either 5 or 10 minute misconducts. Kyle Sharkey went down the tunnel into the Huntsville dressing room, followed closely by the trainer because it looked like he had been injured. And right now, John Seamer and Cy Nukovic are conferring with referee Stephen Hoshaw at the red line. Looks like Nukovic and Seamer, the dignitaries for each team, have been sent back to their benches to spread the word on what's happened. While we wait for this to all get sorted out, folks, we're going to take a brief pause in the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 4-2 Huntsville is your score. 7:47 remaining in the third period of play. We'll be back in a moment, folks. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live, powered by New Lion and on YouTube.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group package. Whether you're a school, a church, a company, or just a group of friends, give the Mayhem office a call and we'll set you up with an incredible group deal. From $13 tickets to free team hats to a unique experience upgrade of your choosing, the Mayhem have got you and your group covered. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today. Need to raise some money for your organization? Contact the Mayhem front office and we'll be happy to partner up with your group to help you fundraise for a cause. You buy tickets from us at $10, you sell them for $15, and then you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whatever cause you like. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to set up a fundraiser for your organization today.
All right, well, we'll see if we can recite all this information. So both teams are at even strength. It's a 4-on-4. The Mayhem losing 3 penalties, 3 players to penalties. The Havoc losing 2. Huntsville going down Anthony Calabrese and Stephen Rahoriak. Macon going down Jake Trask, Stathis Umalitis, and Zach Urban. All players who would be instrumental in mounting a comeback. They'll just have to try to get it done without them. As Sutliff will shuffleboard one down the wall for John Seamer, who shovels it in front. Nice pass. Horowitz couldn't quite get the shot off on the one-time attempt. We'll leave it for Seamer now near the point. Kicks it up to his stick. Seamer shovels it now to Horowitz. Calls for it. Horowitz pulls the trigger. Glove save Millisek. And good rebound control. 4-2 your score in favor of the Huntsville Havoc with 7:15 remaining in period 3. Zach Urban was given a 5-minute major and a game misconduct, so Igor Babinin is serving 4.5 minutes for him, the next 4.5 for him. And Rahoriak was just given a minor, so Huntsville will go to a power play after the next minute 29 expires. Danny Caesar reverses it to Trask, who tries to slip one back through for Trask. So it's interesting why Trask is on the ice right now. They might have gotten that call wrong, folks. I didn't see Trask really engaged in that kerfuffle yet, or at all, really. So they might have had a mistake, some kind of miscommunication between the timekeeper's table and the referee or the PA announcer as Cup receives it from Trask and sends it into the slot. It's kicked on net, stopped by Millisek. Trask is still out there, so I don't think he was given a 5-minute game misconduct. Right now, Igor Babinin is in the Macon penalty box. He's making his debut tonight, his Mayhem debut. Kalis flings it around the boards. It caroms off of Stanchion, rolls out into the slot, and Pat Condon will skate down the right wing side. Condon goes down, gets the puck deep, and goes after it. And another penalty is going to be called against Macon. Hooking is the infraction against the Mayhem. And Larry Smith is going to have a seat. So Huntsville is going to get a long 5-on-3 power play in a few moments. Once Rahoriak's penalty expires in 39 seconds, the Havoc will get a full 2-minute 5-on-3. they'll have an opportunity to put this game out of reach. One of the keys of tonight's game would be matching Huntsville's discipline. They're the best team in the league at staying out of the penalty box, and the Mayhem, unfortunately, have failed in that department tonight. Sinukovic, with tons of space, swivels through neutral territory and drops it off. Nolan Kaiser is pickpocketed by Jake Fiala, who can't clear it past Nukovic. Ryan Salkeld, 3 forwards and a defenseman out there for Glenn DeTulio and the Havoc. The pass from Derar is intercepted by Fiala, who attempts a 150-foot shot, missed the net wide of the right post. Kaiser will leave it off for Nukovic. Second in the SPHL in assists this season with 36 coming into this game. He drops it for Ryan Salkeld, who sends it around the boards to the far half wall. Nukovic taps it up to Derar, who scored the most recent Huntsville goal. Nolan Kaiser, Derar, side of the net pass. It's returned to Derar, who hammers a one-timer just wide of the left post. And Salkeld is ridden into the boards, but the Havoc keep it in the Mayhem zone. Kaiser, Derar, Salkeld. Rohoriak's in the slot, wants the pass from Salkeld, who will instead give it back to Nukovic. One-timer from Rohoriak is denied by Tanner Creel. Rather, that was Derar who shot it. Now it's Kaiser, right circle. Kaiser into the slot for a shot by Derar, squeaks through, and it's jammed home by Ryan Salkeld, who has regained his league lead in goals this season with 23 on the campaign. And Huntsville has pretty much put this one in the bag. It's 5-2 Havoc. Penalty kill that started out extremely well for the Mayhem tonight. Things have turned around in a not so good way. They've conceded their last two. They've conceded a power play goal in their last 2 PKs, one of which, of course, being a long 5-on-3. Tough to blame them. And they're still going to be in the box for the next 2 minutes. Derek Pearl from the right point will receive a return pass from Alec Brandrup. Brandrup at the apex of the umbrella to Shivo. To Trevor Gerling, who wheels around the perimeter of the offensive zone and leaves it for Derek Pearl. Pearl sends a pass into the slot. Piacentini redirects it out to Shivo, up to the top for Brandrup, whose shot is blocked. Piacentini with a backhander, stopped by Creel. Derek Pearl from the right corner, slides it up to Brandrup. Long wrist shot, and a pad save is made by Creel. Seamer is met by John Shivo, can't clear it. He gets a second chance, however, and he will skate out through center ice with it. It's hard forward against Brandrup, then goes down. Scooping it up will be John Shivo, who scored the second goal of this game for the Havoc. Gerling shimmies his way across the Macon blue line. And Carter Horwitz unable to clear it past the blue line. It was barely held in. 48 seconds remain on this long J&J's heating and air conditioning penalty kill. Caleb Cameron delivers a hit into the boards, and another penalty is called. And all of a sudden, Stephen Hoshaw is calling everything, but seemingly only against one team. .39 seconds remain on the penalty called against Zach Urban, which is seemingly just lingered on for a lifetime here. And Caleb Cameron was called for a hit from behind. And pretty soft call against Caleb Cameron. One of many players who spent a lot of time in the penalty box for Macon. The Mayhem were in this game for the majority of the contest, folks. All through the first 2 periods, the game was tied for most of the time. In the second period, Jake Trask scored just 1 minute and 11 seconds after the Mayhem fell behind again. But the third period has not gone according to plan. And yes, there have been some questionable penalties called, but the Mayhem just at the end of the day, have not done a good enough job of staying disciplined. Nukovic will feed Bose. One-timer from Sakalis misses the net. Brandrup gives it back to Sakalis. Brandrup again. Another 5-on-3 for Huntsville. Brandrup fires and misses the right post. Sakalis and Nukovic. Switches with Sakalis. Time winds down on Urban's penalty as the long wrist shot is denied by the right pad, or rather the left pad of Creel. Switches with Alec Brandrup and leaves it for him. Blocked shot flies out of play, and that flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 2.5 to go in the second period, 5-2 Havoc. And this game took a nasty turn for the Mayhem in very short order, really, as soon as the third period started. Nolan Kaiser. The pass over to Trevor Gerling. Horiak sets up Shivo, who motors down the right half wall. He sends it behind the net. Jake Fayella intercepts it, tries to bounce it out of the zone. Rahoriak cuts it off and sends it into the corner on the far side. Rattles off the stanchions. It fools Condon a little bit, who's pressured by Seamer, trying to steal it from him. Minute 50 to go in the third period. 5-2 Huntsville, who've suddenly turned this game from being a really closely contested, low-scoring game into one that's not so much the case. Just over 100 seconds remain, 19 of which will be spent with Caleb Cameron serving a boarding penalty. Danny Caesar emerges with the puck on his stick as he flies down the left wing side. Speared off of his blade, Larry Smith trying to steal it back at center. And Caesar scoops it up and will carry it into his own zone, given away to Derar, whose shot is denied by Creel. Minerva whiffs on the pass. It's taken away by Piacentini. Well, the Mayhem just not as sharp as the Havoc have been tonight in terms of their passing and their crispness with the puck on their stick. Got to tip your cap to Glenn DeTulio's squad for the way they've moved the puck tonight. Almost flawless. Very few lapses in the defensive zone as the Mayhem have had. Though the Mayhem have generated more shots on goal, the quality has not been quite as high. Tanner Creel's had to work for every save he's made tonight. Finally, the Mayhem are back to full strength, but it's probably too late at this Dakota Kletcher, rather, for possession. 25 seconds. Condon had it escape him as Lynch will skate it back the other way. Soper through the middle will feed it to Carter Horwitz on his right. Again, Kaiser breaking up the offensive zone rush. 9 seconds to go. Derek Sutliff is joined by Seamer on the zone entry. He will leave it off for him. Seamer trying to twist the pass back to him. Intercepted, and that'll do it. So a game that was evenly played and closely contested up until the third period suddenly took a horrendous turn for the Mayhem. They found themselves in seemingly infinite penalty trouble. If you look at the box score on SPHL Live, folks, on the SPHL website, it's pretty wild how the third period shaped out. There were penalties called at 1:43, 2:33, 9:12, 12:13, and 13:35 and 16:35. So it was just, and most of them were called against Macon. There are a couple of questionable ones. Larry Smith found guilty of hooking. Caleb Cameron found guilty of boarding. Penalties that I really didn't think needed to be called, especially given the situation. The Mayhem were trailing. It was late in the game. They had just served continuing altercation misconducts, second altercation misconducts, game misconducts, fighting majors that had just happened. And usually when stuff like that's going on, officials don't always waste their time calling little stuff, especially late in a game like that. But Larry Smith and Caleb Cameron were sent to the box both for some pretty soft penalties, and the Mayhem for the last 6, 7, 8 minutes of the game were shorthanded. One of the keys of the game was staying disciplined. We talked a lot about how disciplined Huntsville has been all season. And, well, they weren't perfect tonight, but they had half the amount of time spent on the PK that the Mayhem did, and that proved to make a huge difference. Huntsville's power play and Macon's power play both converting at the same rate, 25% across the board. Huntsville going 2 for 8, Macon going 1 for 4. Let's recap how we got to the result that we did tonight. 5-2 your final score, shots favoring Macon 27-22. Tyler Piacentini opened the scoring, $1:45 into the contest. Steph Asumalides in his first game back after a 19-game stretch in the ECHL. Got his first goal since returning to the Mayhem, 15:58 into the contest to make it 1-1. John Shivo with an unassisted strike, 18:05 into the second period on a 2-on-1 rush in which he was joined by Endicott College product Josh Bowes. He just decided to rip it, and he beat Tanner Creel over the shoulder to regain Huntsville's lead. Then Jake Trask on a power play would end up scoring Macon's last goal on the night, a minute and 11 seconds after Shivo's goal. Ripped one from the left circle to make it a 2-2 score heading into the third period, which was all Huntsville. Rob Derar scoring a power play goal. Derek Pearl also scored 2:37 into the third with a wrist shot from above the left circle that squeaked through Tanner Creel's pads. Derar firing home a one-timer on a power play, and Salkeld getting a 5-on-3 goal. Nolan Kaiser and Rob Derar set him up for it, and that would seal the deal. So Salkeld with that goal pulling back ahead of Jake Trask, who tied him for the SPHL lead at 22. Trask has another opportunity tomorrow night to pull ahead of his former teammate or at least tie him. But in spite of this bad news, folks, at the Mayhem dropped this one 5-2, the final score. There is good news to be had tonight, which is the fact that the Mayhem have just officially clinched a berth in the 2019 President's Cup playoffs, with Quad City losing their game against the Fayetteville Marksmen tonight. The Mayhem will move on to the postseason for the fourth time in as many years. So that is the silver lining to be had. There's always some silver lining if you look hard enough, and some more silver lining. I think it's fair to say there are a lot of positives to take from tonight's game. It was a well-played game by the Mayhem, really, especially for the first two periods. They just lost their composure. I think that was the issue. That was the biggest reason for their downfall in period 3. Not enough discipline. That's going to be something that they'll have to remedy going into tomorrow night's game. The good news is 2 weeks ago, the Mayhem found themselves in a similar situation. 96 total penalty minutes on Friday night against Fayetteville 2 weeks ago. The Mayhem adjusted and responded accordingly. Were only guilty of, fewer than half of that total the following night. So we expect, or at least we hope, to see an adjustment made in that department by Coach Leo Thomas and company. We expect that to be the case. Although you can never be sure, especially with rivals like this. Tomorrow, the fuses and the tempers might be on an even tighter leash. We'll just have to wait and see. I expect there may be a suspension or two handed down by the SPHL after all these altercations that took place. Zach Urban, once again, finding himself taking a late penalty that put his team in a tough spot. Stathis Sumalides being penalized as well. Multiple times. I think Stathis by the end of the night had 14 penalty minutes. I'll have to check the official box score. Looks like Stathis on the night, 14 penalty minutes. And trailed only Zach Urban in that respect this evening. So Stathis being Stathis, got a goal, 3 shots on net, a +1 rating, and 14 penalty minutes. So I think it's safe to say that he has made his presence known in the few days since he's been back. Danny Caesar made his debut tonight for the Mayhem. Unfortunately, was a -2, but he had a few good shifts and a few good opportunities to score. I thought that Sean Lynch showed some promise as well in his Mayhem debut. Carter Horwitz getting his first professional assist on the power play on Jake Trask's goal. So there are a few other positives to take away from tonight's game if you're a Mayhem fan, folks. If you're a Havoc fan, we appreciate you tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. We know you enjoyed the outcome. Mayhem fans, we hope you enjoyed the broadcast as well in spite of the outcome. Once more, the Havoc with 5, the Mayhem with 2. And tomorrow night will be the big one. We expect to have a crowd that may even rival our Pucks and Paws night crowd, which reached 3419. Tomorrow night, same time, same place, 7:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time puck drop here at the Macon Centreplex. For you folks out in Huntsville, that's a 6:35 p.m. Central Standard Time puck drop. For tickets, you can visit the Mayhem website, maconmayhem.com, or just swing by the box office the day of the game. I'll let you in on a little secret, folks. You can get your family 4-packs for tomorrow. That's 4 hot dogs, 4 tickets, 4 sodas, 4 bags of chips, and a free large pizza at Amici, all for just $54. Time has officially expired. However, if you call the Mayhem office tonight, leave a voicemail. We'll get the voicemail. We'll hear the voicemail in the office tomorrow morning. We'll call you back, and we'll get your 4-pack squared away. So that's the last call. You will not be able to call the Mayhem office and get a 4-pack tomorrow night. By then, it'll be too late. So if you're interested in getting one and taking advantage of that incredible deal, call the Mayhem front office at 478-803-1592. Again, that 4-pack deal includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, 4 bags of chips, and a voucher for a free large pizza at Amici that can be used at any point from now up until the summer. We hope you enjoyed the game tonight, folks. Again, Huntsville with a 5-2 victory. Costly third period for the Mayhem in which they just could not keep themselves out of the penalty box. Proved to be the difference maker tonight. We'll be right back here tomorrow night, folks. Alex Von Cordel, the voice of your Mayhem, saying so long, and we look forward to having you on board tomorrow night in the Mayhem's penultimate home game of the 2018-19 regular season. Till then, so long, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Friday.